Ha ha. Oh my God, all the noises. Oh my God, there I am. All right. And participants. All right. Yeah. Should be able to join now. Yeah, the Zoom one. Oh, there you are. I had to let you in. I didn't know that's how it worked. Hello?
Hey.
Oh my God. All right. I'm going to hang up. Whew.
All right, I'm gonna go back down into my bunker.
Okay. Yeah.
You gonna go outside? There goes Abigail.
Aw.
All right. Loud and clear.
Loud and clear. That was an interesting little. Well, I guess it's just with everything that's going on in the world, and today, last couple of days, we got rockets going off, we got riots breaking out, we've got viruses, protests, everything.
Yeah. What a time. Holy cow.
Holy cow, that's right.
Throw on something here in the background that's somehow
Yeah.
appropriate.
Do it.
So I saw that in like on Figueroa or something, they burned a cop car last night in LA.
Yeah, and there were people rioting and breaking into like jewelry stores downtown. Like,
Yeah.
classic end of the world shit.
Classic, yeah.
Classic. Yeah, it's I didn't even because like when we were texting and you were asking how it was, there was a helicopter circling my building for a while, and I was on the Citizen app looking at the area around me. There were protests, but the videos of the protests, it almost looked like there were like 10 people just like walking down the street with signs being like hell no, like that whole thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? Like that's what's going on? Like is that it? And sure enough, my dad was here last night and stayed the night. And I had a group chat with Mike and Steve and all these other guys, and I turned it on mute because a lot of times like it's just my phone will be dinging the whole time. Mm-hmm. So I woke up this morning, I saw like 90 messages, and I went back and re-looked at it, like, oh shit, what happened? Start looking at videos of downtown, and it was mayhem.
Yeah.
It wasn't just 10 people walking down the street with signs.
No, and there were a lot of people here. I don't think any violence broke out in Milwaukee, but there were people all over kind of downtown, and then they walked out onto the highway and shut down the highway for a while yesterday as well. So yeah, and then I saw in like around the world too, there were a couple of places that had memorials for him. So like people in Iran were kind of like saying their prayers for him, and so this is like kind of like turned into a worldwide thing. And then they called the National Guard into Minneapolis. So I think that's happening right now. So meanwhile, we got Bob and Doug up there.
Bob and Doug. Like, I love that their names are Bob and Doug. I was talking with Sophia about that earlier. Holy shit. Bob and Doug are in space right now. Bob, Doug, Bob, Doug.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Classic.
Amazing. That was pretty epic. Did you watch the launch?
Yeah, I did. Me and my dad and my sister watched it. It was pretty cool. Yeah. I don't remember ever watching anything like that.
No.
Live, at least.
Totally. Has a unique quality to it. I mean, for a lot of reasons. And how this is the first time NASA and a private company, oh, nice, The Matrix. NASA and a private company are working together to go to space. And it's like, it seems like just a normal, like, I don't know, it's nothing, doesn't seem crazy logistically, just, I mean, I guess it is. I mean, you're going to space, flying a rocket, and it's pretty crazy. But you know, like they're not going to the moon. They're just like, we're going up. We're going to dock with the station, drop some shit off, hang out, orbit around, come back. But it's like a huge deal.
It's been over a decade, right, since they sent anybody up or something like that, right? Or is
We're
that
saying 9 years, I think. Was it 2011? Because they disbanded the shuttles, the space shuttles.
yeah.
I was wondering that, like, this is the first time that two people went up in a rocket, I think, since the Gemini missions.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what I heard. That's wild. It's a long time ago, but it's
Yeah.
just weird to think, that we went to the moon 50 years ago, and so it shouldn't seem like a big deal that we're just sending two dudes, Bob and Doug, up there. But it is a big deal. I mean, it's such a feat. So hopefully this will be the beginning of, more and more and more, and then it won't be such a big deal because we'll be doing it so often. Then we'll be able to start going to the moon again, and then from there, to Mars.
Yeah. Start mining some asteroids like Barack Obama said all those years ago. I mean, it's funny. This I can see that happening. This is the beginning of an era where it's just going to become commonplace. Rockets, people going up and back all the time, and opening up potential like commercial travel. I'm sure there's some other technology that they haven't disclosed for a long time. This would be a great opportunity to start releasing, or like, oh wow, well, hey, we got these blueprints for this thing. Like, wow, you could build this if you want. Oh, sure, we could build that. Like, imagine having a new type of air travel where instead of flying on an airplane through the air from point A to point B, you get on this like crazy SpaceX rocket thing that just brings you up into orbit and then back around.
Mm-hmm.
Like a different kind of space travel. That scene from 2001 Space Odyssey when they're like, and he's like sitting in that chair and the pen is floating up next to him. That type of stuff.
Yeah, and remember those like the space elevator idea? Remember that shit?
Yeah, it was like a thing that uses the momentum of the Earth and the moon, and it just like automatically just.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah,
I remember them saying like that was like a more commercial thing that could be happening for like the average man. Is it just space elevators? Maybe that's way further in the future, but yeah, who knows what will come of this? I mean, yeah, successful mission is a major thing. Yeah, and then having it be dealing with a private, they don't have to worry about getting their funding cut or stupid government people getting in the way of human exploration. They shouldn't really have anything to do with that. I feel like it's like, no, we'll just do it ourselves, you fuckers.
Yeah,
Leave us alone.
and in a way, I feel like that's what NASA originally was the intent. Well, maybe in the conspiracy mind of things, where if there was a space program going on before the actual NASA inception, NASA and JFK was like, you know what, we're gonna build our own space program. We're gonna go to the moon. This is not gonna be in secret anymore. We're gonna get the finest people together, and that really seemed to be the catapulted the initiative to want to go to space, and then it just became what it became. So yeah, I agree. It's and working together too. I like the idea that it was a joint NASA SpaceX endeavor.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I like seeing those two people both having their SpaceX logo and then their NASA logo, next to each other. Yeah, because that just shows they're all on the same. They want the same thing, and they're not. They're in friendly competition to make both of the things better. Like they truly have the common goal, which everyone can learn from in governmental stuff, because they don't want the same thing. Whereas these people, the SpaceX and NASA, do want the same thing. So it's really cool to see when proper collaboration helps with people who are good at their jobs and know what they're doing, and a bunch of red tape doesn't get in the way. It's like, look what happens. Bob and Doug, dude, straight up. Bob and Doug, all day.
Bob? Doug? That is so cool. It's so futuristic, man. And the way that rocket works, how they were talking about it in that live stream, how just imagine every time you had to go drive somewhere, you had to like discard your car.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my God, what a waste. So now they have this amazing ability where once the thing separates, the thing comes back and lands just like in those movies before space travel was even a reality.
Yeah.
So really interesting time with everything. It's just, and with what's going on in the world right now with all these riots, the protests, the pandemic, the president, everything. It's like,
Yeah.
whoa.
There's nothing you can, there's too much to ignore, you know. Even if it was just the pandemic, maybe you could ignore it and stay in your house. If it was just the police murdering innocent black people again, maybe you could stay in your house and ignore it. If it was just riots and protests, then maybe you could just ignore it. If it was just Bob and Doug going into space, it's like all these things by themselves, maybe you can pretend like they're not happening, but all of it happening on this, within this, just think of this week, like it's just been insane. It's just one week has been, I don't know, man. And it's only Saturday. Fuck.
It's only Saturday.
What's going to happen tomorrow?
Is it Sunday? Yeah. And so Uncle Bruce ended up going to North Carolina on Memorial Day weekend. And it was Memorial Day weekend too, like all this stuff, right? So he ended up going to North Carolina. What's that?
Machiavelli's birthday.
Oh, yeah, Machiavelli's birthday, right. Oh, my God.
Yeah, what are we?
It's all happening, man. It's all happening. The conference Uncle Bruce went to when he got back from New Zealand, which was hilarious, by the way, because I was down at my parents'. I wasn't planning on staying as long as I did, but me and my dad went up to LAX to pick them up from the airport, flying in from New Zealand, and my dad, I don't know if you saw on Facebook or anything like that, but my dad got this gas mask, like an authentic Soviet Union gas mask and a suit, looked like a biohazard suit, showed up to the airport to pick him up. I got a video of it. I'll have to show you at some point. Anyway, that was cool. We got to hang out, but then right at maybe a couple of days later, my dad drove Uncle Bruce and Aunt Margaret back up to LA, where Uncle Bruce got on a plane, went to North Carolina. Right before that happened, he got word that the conference was canceled because of the pandemic and the governor and the rules and restrictions and stuff. But then Dr. Buttar, who is in charge of the event, called up Uncle Bruce directly and was like, no, that's a misunderstanding. We're not going to let him take us down. This is like, they're not going to stop us. It's on. And Uncle Bruce was like, all right, okay, it's on.
Wow. Okay.
So I get the impression that it was still like sort of, like maybe it wasn't on. Like my friend Steve in Canada messaged me or talked to me and he was like, yeah, I heard the conference was canceled. I'm like, how'd you hear it was canceled? It's like there's an email blast that went out. So it wasn't just like a fluke. So Uncle Bruce went out there and it's sure enough, there was a clusterfuck of a situation with the hotel and the venue having the amount of people. The rules said that you cannot have, a certain amount of people in the conference room.
Right.
Long story short, they ended, like Dr. Buttar found a loophole in the system somehow where there is no restriction about how many people can gather in the lobby of the hotel.
Huh.
So they had this conference in the lobby.
Okay.
A small, confined space with about 250 people, no masks, no social distancing, in North Carolina.
Okay.
Dr. Buttar, famous right now for advocating the pandemic, pandemic idea, and also the 5G connection. Okay, so he's actually been some of his videos have been banned from YouTube, censored, big time. And I really get the impression that he's, into the QAnon, Trump,
he's deep
state.
into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, and for months, Annie and I, Uncle Bruce's business manager, we've been trying to counsel Uncle Bruce to just think about when you go to this conference, if you go to this conference, should you go to this conference? If you go, be mindful about what you talk about, because the audience that's gonna be there, it's a very unique audience. And that was my original point. It's like, talk about crazy stuff going on. That conference was the largest gathering of human beings in a closed space in the last 2.5 months.
Right.
You know, and there's pictures of it. It's like crazy. I had this funny thought about it afterwards. You know, you remember Death to Smoochie?
Yeah.
There's that scene, I guess, somewhere in the middle of the movie where those guys come up to Edward Norton and they're like, "Hey, we got, you know, there's this great audience. We want to bring you to do a sing your song at this venue." And he's like, "Oh, great. What is it? Oh, it's for a charity. Don't worry." So he ends up going to this venue. And he gets out on stage. It's a big bright light on him. He's like, "I can't really see everybody out there, but let's sing a song." He starts singing his friends, we all got friends, and la 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 la. And then after a minute or two, he's like, "Hey, can we bring up the house lights? I want to see who I'm singing to here." House lights come up. It's a fucking Nazi rally. You remember that?
Yeah.
And it's like, and then it turned into this whole thing like, you know, Smoochie's a Nazi. They like canceled the show. That occurred to me in the sense of this conference, not direct reference. Of course, I'm not saying it was a Nazi rally. I'm not saying that those people were evil people or anything like that. But I think the audience of people, like what kind of people are willing to go into a crowd, into a lobby, where the main guy, Dr. Buttar, is very aggressively activism mode. This is a pandemic. It's a hoax. The 5G is connected to it. We're not going to let them censor us. The liberals, they don't get it. And Dr. Buttar sent out an email that clearly stated that he's been in touch with White House officials.
Okay.
Talking with members of the White House. He says talking to the president's advisors, top advisors. He refers to him as, "I've been speaking with the president's top advisors and members from the White House." And the whole thing was about censorship. And apparently, these White House officials asked Dr. Buttar and said, "Well, what do you think we should do?" And Dr. Buttar said, "Well, and this is all in the email, and what I told them was that we should do a ban on censorship. Censorship should be banned. They banned my videos. I'm trying to tell the truth about the 5G, and they're banning me." Well, what happened yesterday with Trump?
Mm-hmm.
Wanting to sign in some sort of executive order to, you know, go after the tech giants and stuff like that.
Something with Twitter.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's like reading this, it was really bizarre reading this email where it's like you see pictures of Uncle Bruce and all these people, and then a picture of Donald Trump and all this stuff. It's like all like one thing. I'm like, oh, okay. That's kind of what I was anticipating would happen.
Huh.
So that's my report to you. Just another fun, interesting thing about like, crazy town.
Yeah. Wait. So do you believe this guy, like, or like? Oh, I don't know.
I think, you know, from what I know about Dr. Buttar, he is a very credible person, especially when it comes to his story about vaccines. The nature of vaccines. I might butcher this story, so, you know, look it up, and anyone that's watching this, look it up. But Dr. Buttar's son apparently got vaccinated, and he was healthy, and he got vaccinated, and then he just had all of these problems happen, and it was a major rehabilitation process. I'm pretty sure he's still alive. Hopefully he is. But apparently this was the thing that really galvanized him to advocate against vaccines. Now, when it comes to the 5G stuff and the pandemic and the aligning with the Trump administration, I think that's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
he's very I don't know. I don't want to throw shade on him as much as I get a weird vibe from him.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair enough. So Bruce went and gave his lecture to these people, though? How did it go besides all the circumstantial stuff?
Apparently it went well. Apparently the lecture was good, and it, you know, I mean, I imagine it was good. I mean, Uncle Bruce has got a good message. He said he wouldn't talk about the pandemic numbers and like look in any way necessarily imply that the pandemic isn't real.
Right.
Because not to say there isn't stuff to question, like, oh, you just trust the official narrative? No, the official narrative, there's a lot of issues like with everything, but just in terms of how people receive it and the fact that everyone's paying attention to it.
Yeah.
It's like in some people's minds, it's like 9/11 is happening every day. And to even suggest that that's not happening it's like telling somebody in New York City on September 12th, this is all big fucking bullshit. The government's trying. This is all the government. It's like, that's not going to be, I don't think that's going to be received well by
people. No. It's definitely not worth it. Like we've talked about before, we're still in it. So it's really hard to analyze it as we're in it, no matter how you feel about it. If you think it's 100% real and believe everything everyone says, or if you think it's 100% fake. Right now it's definitely, you do have to be careful, especially when you're someone like Uncle Bruce, who has such a big following and he's heavily scrutinized, whereas you have a little bit more than I do, obviously, because you're more in people's peripheral because of Uncle Bruce, and you're tied to him at the moment. So like if you were to say something completely outlandish or all of a sudden come out as a neo-Nazi, then that would be bad for Uncle Bruce, I mean bad for you. But we can still kind of talk and kind of play with ideas and thoughts and be in the gray area. But yeah, for people like Uncle Bruce or anybody who a lot of people listen to, it really is a sensitive time because you can really polarize yourself. And if you are so one side or the other, it might stick to you once we're on the other side of this. It's like, okay, well, I love Uncle Bruce, but during, this time he said that. So now I kind of look at him in a different way. Like a lot of people are kind of feeling weird about Joe Rogan these days, or at least in his like subreddit, people are like, because of how he's kind of perceiving this, this whole situation. And he's, still kind of on the fence, it seems, or he doesn't really believe it needs to be as serious as it is. So like the perception of him, at least for a percentage of his followers and appreciators, is being affected because of how he's seeing and talking about this current state. So I can see how, and Uncle Bruce has already kind of had one little thing where he had to, not apologize, but he had to kind of clarify what he said, so he's probably very conscious that it is like you're walking a thin line right now. And if you want to go off the deep end, you can do it, but you might not get out of the deep end. So it's definitely, but it's probably hard for him because he's probably gotten asked that, directly, at least through emails or through you or whatever, like, do you believe this? Do you believe that? So, he has to be very, very conscious about what he says. And then even going to having that kind of conference in the middle of this it was risky business to do to begin with. But it's tough. But like we said, you can't necessarily say right now that it's not a big deal when to thousands and tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people, it is a big deal. Like you said, being in New York, September 12th, and saying there were no planes or something like that, it's like, you just can't talk like that, at least for, separation. There needs to be distance in between. Maybe next year you could start talking about it. Depends how long it goes. But also, the longer you wait, the more information you have. So hopefully you can come to a more educated conclusion, or at least temporary conclusion, if that's a thing. But for us, fuck it, we can say what we want. So when we were in New York making all those 5G jokes, was it even a thing then, or was that literally just you and me, like
It was definitely a thing, but not like it is now.
Okay.
Like,
I
it
could, I
was a
couldn't
thing like
remember
that.
if it started like externally or if we were just like, oh, G5, 5G, 5V, V5H,
No, the
and see
V5,
how.
yeah. Those
Yeah.
are all just like amazing synchronicities,
Okay. Because we were
literally
making that joke the whole time.
the whole time. And then,
And
like,
that was
after
a
we
year and
left the monolith, we go outside after brunch and wait, I just got to stand here and vape. Oh, the 5G, the sat, the five, like, and I almost think he said satellites too. Like, maybe I'm making that part up, but like, holy shit, yeah, it was definitely a thing.
Okay.
It was building, but now as it's being deployed, and just I think just with the pandemic
Yeah,
and
yeah. People attaching the pandemic to it probably brought it to the next level. Before it was just like they're messing with our brain waves or something like that. Was that the argument? Like it's
that it would like it's dangerous. Like there's an idea which I don't know how true this is, and people I know dear to my heart say this as if it's true, like a fact, and I don't think we know this as a fact.
right.
But there was a story that there was like a 5G tower, and there were some guys like tinkering around, I guess, and they like turned it on. See, none of this makes sense, but they turned it on, and then just like a bunch of birds fell out of the sky dead. And they're like, see? And who knows? And like, I'm sure that there was that story of the birds falling down at the
Yeah,
same
there were
time.
a couple of those. I thought.
Yeah, that's happened. So like,
Yeah.
but people have been associating that with the 5G. Be like, well, they
Right.
turned on the 5G towers and all these birds fell out of the sky. So just imagine what's going to do to our heads. Birds aren't even real.
And maybe that's why they were so susceptible, is because it just shut down their signal.
Yeah, their microprocessors just got fried. So yeah, so like that's the stories like that were circulating around at the time, and yeah, now with the pandemic, it's like you get in London, you get people going out there literally setting fire to 5G towers.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there was a woman who shot at one too, right? There were people up working on one tower, and this woman started shooting at the fucking 5G tower while there were people up there like working on it.
Whoa.
Yeah. But as we've said, man, like this is the time that this time of Trump is not creating anything that wasn't there before. It's all there now. It's like people now, everyone who's in denial about our country being super racist, it's still here, guys. Everyone who is in denial about there being really stupid fucking people out there, they're still fucking here. Now they're just loud and they're out and about. And same thing with, corrupt police. It's like, oh, maybe it was getting better and maybe the country will. It's like, nope. Sorry. It's like you can attribute it to Trump people or to Trump himself, but in his tweet yesterday or whatever, which was, basically not encouraging violence, but suggesting violence.
Yeah, it's like once the riots start, that's when the bullets start flying or whatever.
The looting, yeah. Once there's looting, then they're shooting or something like that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh God, what a nasty. That's evidence that he's a wizard.
Goddamn poet.
Yeah, poet. Yeah, the looting and the shooting and
got a nice ring to it. Yeah.
I like it. Hey, it's a tremendous ring to it. Yeah, so it's just like wacky.
But it's like, yeah, so I think I've talked to you plenty of times about these, two separate channelers that I followed on Facebook like probably 10 years ago when I was like, I would read them. I would read the channelings every day. Besides that, it was like Bashar, who we've talked about before. And sometimes things ring true and sometimes they don't, like everything. But the one woman who channels her son Matthew, who like her son died in a car accident or whatever long ago, his have always ring true to me for whatever reason. They've been more specific and less like leading you on, the time is upon us, the light is on earth, stay positive, we're here to help you. This guy actually like says specific stuff, like maybe they do that on purpose because it's kind of, it strikes a chord. Like it mentions the cabal, it mentions the Illuminati, it mentions the pandemic, it mentions specific things. And in his most recent one, I think he does suggest that the 5G is connected to the pandemic somehow. Like it helped accelerate it or helped spread it, and it was part of the plan. and that was the only time I read it from anywhere besides crazy people talking. I don't really know where the I don't want to call them crazy people, but and I don't know where they're getting it from. Like, are they getting it from this other guy that you were talking about earlier? Like, where is this main conspiracy coming from? This 5G thing.
And you know what's interesting now, I think, in terms of conspiracy theories, unlike the past where there were figureheads like David Icke or Alex Collier, or David Wilcock, or Alex Jones, you know, like you get these individuals that are the go-to people for conspiracies. I feel like that time we've waned down. We're waning down from that time, like pretty far away from it now. Like 2012 was the peak of it for sure. But now the conspiracies, it's like with the way the internet is and how people's minds work, the fact that people can just have podcasts and just just go out there and speak, and like people just go down the rabbit hole of YouTube and just start listening to things, and whatever resonates, they're like, oh yeah, that resonates with me. So it's like conspiracies are like in this amorphous blob now. And so, yeah, there are people like Dr. Buttar who is talking about 5G. It's a misconception for people to think, in his defense, that as if he's saying 5G is causing the coronavirus. No, that's not what he's saying. From what I understand, from what I can stand listening to him, he talks about 5G as this signal that basically.
Yeah.
Oop. Hey, Mom.
Thank you. That's Kate.
Oh, hey, Kate.
Pizza's here.
So that like the 5G weakens the cell membrane, like makes it more like fucked up, I guess.
Susceptible to the virus one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know, it's like I don't know how well that holds up, because like I was talking about this with Mike the other night. Look at the places on Earth where 5G towers exist. And I think the number one place on the Earth where there's the most 5G towers is South Korea.
Okay.
And if that is the case, why is it that their death rates are not as bad?
Mm-hmm.
I think there's just a lot of variables involved here. And I want to go back to another really like thing that makes this even more wild, is that with all this stuff, with the 5G and the virus and the riots and the SpaceX and the launching of this is Mandala, dude.
Yeah.
It's like, who's been like, we knew about this a decade ago, over a decade ago.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that, yeah.
07. 07 is, I mean, you brought it up the first couple of times, you know?
Yeah.
13 years, man.
Whoa. It's like that's I know for both of us that our perspective with Mandala is like talk about a lens. I'm getting chills even thinking about this. Just the Mandala lens that we're looking through with everything that's happening in the world. It's like, holy shit. That first line that he wrote, this is a work of presumptive fiction. One day this could happen. Like, it's probably going to fucking happen. And look where we are now. Literally 5G, like virus, mind control, viruses, lockdown, Donald Trump, like what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, it is surreal. Every day it's more and more. So it's just, where does it go? Where does it go from here? Does it, like, the interesting thing is that, you know, music and movies, they haven't stopped, but they have kind of stopped, you know, like the businesses, there's no live music and there's no movies except for places where they have drive-ins and stuff like that, which is, by the way, are those drive-ins in Oceanside? Do they open up? No.
Nope. They tore those down.
Ah, fuck.
Yeah. They tore them down. Cool. Like originally, like, yeah, cause they were there, and what they had was a swap meet, like every weekend. And they disbanded that. They tore down the things, and now they're gonna build like a you know, a corporate, you know, fancy, high end, you know, big parking lot with like 2 or 3 really fancy stores and a gas station. I'm like, there are 2 gas stations on the other side of the street.
And
So
nobody
yeah,
uses gas anymore, for God's sake.
don't yeah, gas is virtually nothing now. Nobody even uses gas. Gas, cell phones, irrelevant.
But it's weird that there's going to be like a reset with movies, and I'm wondering how they're going to come back, because Hollywood is, like, ugh, they're just grabbing on by threads right now. So what are they gonna pull out Plan Q right now? Like what is the next step? Is it gonna be the mandala? Like they got to make up for lost time, and this, I feel like Hollywood knows that this is kind of putting them on their last leg right now. I mean, they've been struggling since like all the streaming services have been coming up. It's like it's a weird time for them, because they don't want to change. They don't want to make it easier for everyone to make movies. They don't want to make it easier to distribute. Do you just have a revelation? What's going on?
Yeah. For Mandala, just thinking like when this was written originally by Uncle Bruce, and as we've been writing it, as developing it for all this time, the one thing that I don't think we really anticipated was the concept of social distancing and the lockdown and the quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the story, a pandemic starts to happen, right?
Oh yeah.
So like, but everything kind of stays the same.
Yeah.
I don't know if that could be like that now.
Okay.
And holy, like this is scary, like, and also probably great for the story for the Liquid Crystal shows, like as like maybe like the virus kind of like happens, and then towards maybe like halfway through the movie or at some point like towards the end, like definitely not in the beginning, but the quarantine starts happening, the lockdown starts happening, the social distancing, the people wearing the fucking masks, no one can go out, movie theaters are shut down, like, but the Liquid Crystal show goes on.
Oh, it somehow is able to go on.
It's able to go on. Liquid Crystal show goes on because we're working with the government, and we have this great system where it's the safest place
dome.
in the dome, in this hermetically sealed dome.
Yeah.
Where you get vaccinated right before you go in.
You don't have to wear a mask. You don't have to wear gloves.
It's the safest place you could be.
Yeah. You are like cleansed when you come in there. Oh, fuck. Shit. Well, I was already thinking about that kind of, and just if we wanted to avoid that, I was like, in the beginning movie, you could just say 2019. Like I feel like movies are going to have to do that now. Like this takes place 8 months before the pandemic. So like everything doesn't have to be like, oh, that's not accurate. That's not accurate. That's not accurate. You can just be like, June of 2019 is when the movie starts. I mean, I feel like movies will do that, but I had already thought like, well, now, people's version of reality when they see it is like, oh, that's not current. You can how quickly can you tell something's not current now? Yeah. Because everyone's hugging and kissing and touching and they're close to each other. Anything you see like that, oh well, that's clearly before 2020.
Yeah. And the Liquid Crystal shows talk about another element of, I don't even know if it's not misdirection, just another element of like motivation for all the people that go to those shows. Like even Lilith and like all the conundrums we've had with like, well, she knows, like, why doesn't she say something? Like, why, like, are these just a bunch of, like, it's kind of this idea even in superhero movies, like we pay attention to the main characters and usually a city gets destroyed and, tens of thousands of people die, but we only just see like, we don't, it's like kind of like a side, don't even care about it really.
Yeah.
Like we're avenging because of Phil, not because
Phil, you got to remember Phil,
Bob and Doug. Phil, Bob, Doug. I bet you the guy at the ISS, his name is Phil. So like, it just like the motivation though for like imagining being in that world where you're locked down, movies are discontinued, all of the concerts, like everything's shut down. You can't go to bars. And maybe there's even like a controversy around Liquid Crystal at first. Like we have like Vincelli, like frantically trying to, keep the show going when everyone's coming down on his ass being like, no, we can't do it.
Yeah.
So there's this whole thing where like people go to the Liquid Crystal show and they're not just there to witness a great show. They're there for like human contact for the first time.
Yeah.
They're like the happiest they've ever been.
Yeah. I like that.
So that when the riots break out, it's like, what?
I like that. I like that. Yeah, because it's the only thing you could do. It's the only thing that's allowed to do socially. So yeah, it makes it even more desirable ticket. So of course every one of them is going to be sold out because everyone's just trying to go there so they could hang out with their buddy, and then they get enthralled in the show. Like it doesn't matter. Vince Sally and Barnhart don't care why they're coming. They just want them to come because once you're in it, then you're under our spell. So just got to make sure we max it out every time. But yeah, then I could see like the commercials of the advertisements. It's like everything shut down, this shut down. Like you just said, movies and everything else. But there's one show that goes on through the pandemic, through the times, the persevering show. Only we can guarantee your safety. Or like freedom.
Working with the CDC and like it's safe. This is not. It's like the benefit shows, like Live Aid. Like when they did those big shows for a big cause. Like Liquid Crystal is not just a big show to make a thing. It's a humanitarian effort.
Yeah, they could say that the proceeds go towards like the pandemic fund or like the front line, the essential workers. Like, of course, none of it does go there.
Oh, no, it doesn't.
They could paint it like that. Come raise money for our essential workers and for our hospitals and healthcare. And
it's for humanity. This is for like Barnhart. This is for humanity. Oh my God, what a how diabolical.
So diabolical. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I never even obviously thought about changing society if there's a pandemic. In all the other iterations of Mandala, I never even thought about. It's just like, oh, there's a pandemic. But I guess that's because they have the vaccines, though, right? I mean, that's why it was like if you get your vaccine, then you're okay. So if you come to the show, you can get your vaccine, and then you're kind of free to go back to society. I guess that was kind of the reason, because we don't have one right now in real life.
Right,
so
that's true.
Advise you to stay in because you have no protection against this.
And is it in Mandala as is right now? Is the vaccine? Is the vaccine just available already? Like, is there a defining moment?
No, yeah, because what's his name? Craig Staples, is it maybe?
Craig Staples.
And he's like, we should have vaccines ready within.
Yes.
I think he gives like a non-specific amount of time.
That's at that Pentagon scene.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Hollis is like, when did you say you wanted to have them ready? He's like, we should be able to have ample quantities, blah blah blah, to distribute within X amount of time. And then I think we just jump forward, and then they're there. So that's also part of the shady part. Like, oh, there's a disease. Oh, we have the vaccine right away. How convenient. So there really isn't an in-between time.
Right. Okay. Good.
Which really should. It'll be interesting now because people are way more obviously aware of viruses now, and kind of how, like the layman is way more familiar with how a virus works and how vaccines work now than ever, because if you watch a little bit of the news or whatever, like, okay, this is what the virus does, this is what a vaccine would do, herd immunity, antibodies, like most people have heard these terms the last couple of months. So if you go to a movie now, we won't have to be as like detailed in explaining stuff because they'll have a better baseline of understanding. So
thank God. That worked out. Not the way I hoped. But holy shit, man. That's like a whole lot of backstory they already know that.
We can assume the audience knows a lot more than they did last time we wrote a draft. So thanks, 5G.
Thanks,
Obama. Thanks, Obama. Wouldn't that be funny if the curtain is pulled back and who's sitting there on his throne? Barack Obama.
Yeah, Barack Obama.
Behind all of this, in real life, behind all of this, who would have thought?
Yep,
master genius.
Yep, he's a mutant.
The wizard mutant.
Wow, just imagine. I watched Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I need to rewatch that one again. I think it's such a cool movie. But there's like the best part about it is like these wizard duels. So you got like Voldemort and Dumbledore, like good wizard, the bad wizard, doing this crazy wizard duel. So it's like imagining like Barack Obama and Donald Trump, but like it's like that's not necessarily applicable because they're both as good as they are bad. Like.
Seems that way. Yeah. So we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. Yeah. So I finished that the script that I've been working on, and I just want to do one more night of read-throughs to it. I did it last night and just to kind of smooth it over, and then I want to throw it in a drawer and forget about it. So then I'll be able to fully switch over to mandala mode. So I'm very, very close. So tomorrow I'll start, flipping my brain into that zone. So we'll be able to go full force. So you'll be getting a lot more random texts about it, and we might have to be more frequent about these because I think I told you the deadline is July 2nd. So we'll have basically 30 days essentially right now, 31 or 32, 30 days until that's due. So it's exciting. It's just it's just crazy because, and I don't know if I brought this up before, but I'm just like, will studios or whoever is searching to make movies, will they want to make movies dealing with pandemics and viruses and vaccines coming out of this because it will be of interest of people, or will they want to, I'm sure there'll be smaller ones that are just like, give me everything you got, we'll make it, we'll take the like just to get a movie out there and then get some traction. It's like if a smaller studio releases a pandemic movie, it might get more traction because of it's just in bad taste or whatever. But yeah, I'm just wondering like what Hollywood's going to want, or what Netflix or bigger studios are they going to be, because how many people are incorporating viruses into their script right now that are going to be sent in
like the next 10 years is going to be like pandemic movies.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm just wondering if they're going to be like, all right, let's do it because it's relevant, or if they're like, let's steer clear of this.
I'm sure there's going to be all of that, like depending on which studio and who's in the studio, like in the distribution companies that want to tackle that, because, like what makes this story obviously unique is that there's the whole conspiracy aspect to it. And that's a hot topic.
Right. Well, and it's not just about the pandemic, obviously. That's
it's not. It's a backdrop.
Not about that. Yeah.
No, it's not about that. That's the MacGuffin. It could be anything. It could have been nanites.
Right.
Could have been the releasing of the nanites instead of a vaccine. Who knows? But that's beyond our time. We're not going to be around for that, hopefully. So
unless we're already there.
Yeah, unless we're already infested with nanites, which very well could be. So I think that, I have a feeling that there's, by the nature of it, by the fact that it's not about the pandemic, but that it features all this stuff and it highlights all the conspiracy stuff and does it in a way that is unique and really like just decades in the making. This is not just like, oh, let's tie together all the conspiracies and exploit it.
Right.
Like some movies have done that with their topics. I'm thinking there's this movie called like not Underworld. Okay, well there's a movie called Shrooms.
Oh, I didn't ever see it, but I remember seeing the preview for it. It just looked like it was a horror movie, right?
Yeah, it's a horror movie. It's like these kids take mushrooms and a bad trip and like demons and shit. So like, there, and then there's another movie I'm not thinking of. It was sort of a subjective style thing about going into like beneath the pyramids and discovering what was underneath the pyramids, but then there's like all this evil shit down there, so they kind of enticed you. They like, I could see it in the same way with how like some studio execs might like see like, oh yeah, conspiracies are hot, let's make a movie about conspiracies and we'll bring in this guy. Oh yeah, 5G, like Woody Harrelson will play this guy in like 2012, the Woody Harrelson character in 2012. Like, caricature of that. This one has much more. This was in development way before any of this stuff happened. So I have a feeling that it might be a duck goose kind of a game, trying to find who's gonna be willing to produce and distribute this film.
Right. And I guess now that we're talking about it, it'll almost be like a grabbing, like, whereas those movies that you were talking about are like, let's make a movie about the pandemic, and then we'll figure everything else around that, like those, all those movies, like, all right, I got a really cool little concept, and then they don't give a shit about anything, like 2012, obviously, that kind of movie, like disaster movie, what happens? Everything happens. This falls in the ocean, earthquake, hurricane, whatever, but nothing else matters. Whereas, people who are writing a script about the pandemic now, just because it's hot, would write them like, okay, here's the pandemic, and then they just fill it in with bullshit and popcorn around the corners. Whereas the pandemic for us is the corners, is the fill in, and then the core of it really is the quality. So we can even be like, bring the attention in with the pandemic, but it's not really about the virus. It's about something else that's going on. That's a secondary thing. And I think that will probably give it a leg up from other scripts that are just like, oh, the pandemic's happening, we all turn into zombies, blah, 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 blah. Like this, it's wrapped into a mandala. It's wrapped into a fucking thing where it's part of a larger whole. And that is because it's been developing since 1981. But yeah, I think it depends on how you would want to sell it. Like if people don't want to hear any more pandemic stuff, you can be like, well, that's in there, but it's not about that. And if they do, you could be like, well, that's in there, and it brings you to this other cooler thing, so you kind of aren't oversaturated. Yeah. Like it does a really good job of like mixing the detective mystery aspect, the conspiracy aspect, the really cool theatrical musical aspect, and then the virus aspect and the government and science
and deep motif of like lockdown and quarantine, like this whole hashtag alone together bullshit. Like sidebar, there's Mike was telling me, I don't know if you've looked into this, but in Japan they didn't do a lockdown, they didn't do a quarantine, they didn't release like vague euphemistic alone together, we're alone together. Like they were more like, stay out of public places, try not to be in a confined space, wear your mask, and try socially distance. They didn't close anything. And they've got a low death rate. Mm-hmm. Also, remember, the culture is accustomed to wearing masks on a regular basis anyway. So it's just kind of like, what's that?
They're more like obedient. They're more willing to, they'll listen to somebody and not just be a dick.
Yeah. And they're also like accepting as is, because Japan has been dealing with pandemics and viruses and shit coming from the mainland forever. So this is not new to them. Mm-hmm. It's just the way that they handled it. Now back to what I wanted to say with the motif in mandala with Lilith. It's like the story of like what Vincelli ultimately is doing to her is putting her on a lockdown. Like that's what he wants.
Yeah.
So when she, like that last talk that we had where we, he wanted her and she wouldn't go unless Jeff came, and she's like, well, then you don't have me. And then he had to call Barnhart and be like, all right, yeah, sure, he says he can come. Mm-hmm. Like the whole idea was to bring her in, sign the contract, and then she would be in a box the whole time.
Yeah.
She'll be surrounded by people.
Yeah.
She'll be surrounded by people. But she was chosen because of the fact that she is vulnerable and because she's manipulatable. She can be manipulated when she's in that vulnerable state. So then, like, once Jeff dies and all that shit happens, like by the end, through the whole end of the story, it's like she's alone. And I think that's like a really important thing right now that people are going through.
Yeah.
Like people are locked down physically. You can't go out. You can't do this. You can't do that. And how it's driving people and motivating people in all sorts of unique and interesting ways. So it like in this story, to sell it to the producers, be like, this is a story about freedom. What does it mean to be free? Are you really free? How vulnerable are we? Are we alone? Because that's how she feels a lot. Like it's like in the beginning of the movie, she's pretty much, she's on the edge, literally.
Yeah.
So.
And like you said, constantly alone. She's alone with all these people. She's alone together. And so it's like, oh yeah, you're always with these people but it's like, yeah, so many people will be able to relate to that, right? That's going to be the big thing. It's like, how many people are going to watch this and be like, oh, that's how I felt, last year whenever, during the COVID thing. It's like, I relate to that feeling. Like she could have this POV of her just like looking around or being in her room or locked in and looking outside or watching stuff. And just that feeling that you can give across the screen, that people will be like, I know that feeling, because we all went through that, you know, months and months of quarantining yourself, but also even when you went out, you feel like you're alone, you know, because you have to distance and stuff. Like, just there'll be so much more for people to relate to, because we want everyone to feel like Lilith, and everyone
Yes.
right now kind of feels that way. They
That's
feel
right.
vulnerable, they feel susceptible, they feel closed off, they feel like they're being told what to do by all these other people, and they don't know if it's right or wrong, because it feels, some of the sources are like, well, I think they have my well-being in mind, but then I hear over here, you know, that's complete bullshit. So it's like all these sources of information. She could be on Twitter being like, well, this guy says this and this guy says this, like, I think I should be able to go outside, but then Vincelli says, no, you can't go outside, because even though you've gotten the vaccine or whatever it is, or you haven't, we don't want to give it to you. I forget where she's even at that point, but she'll feel free but also restricted, and it'll just be really good to kind of highlight that, so that people will be like, oh, I know what you're going through, and then kind of get lost in relating to Lilith, so that they don't see it coming at the end, so we can still have that shock value because they're so invested in the character.
Yeah. And dude, like when she goes on that bender, like to that bar, like think about it. It's like
out of quarantine.
It's like imagine she's trying to go and like every bar is fucking closed except for one bar.
Uh-huh.
And there's only a few people in there because they're all afraid to go out. And it's fucking lit.
Or there could be a lot of people there, because like as soon as they lifted the ban here in Wisconsin, like the Supreme Court overturned our governor's like declaration of like, you know, everyone stays closed for X amount of time. That got overturned, and literally that night bars opened up in some areas and they were flooded with people.
Oh,
no
okay.
mask,
Right. Well, then,
no mask, no nothing.
That could be an aspect of like one of the things that when she goes out, well, I have to go out, and it's like it happens like right around that time.
Yeah, maybe the quarantine gets, maybe that could be the thing. Like the quarantine gets temporarily lifted, so people are like, oh, we can only go out to Liquid Crystal before, but now I can go out to my bar.
Yeah,
and maybe
it's only some places. Like it happens to be wherever she is in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And you know, another thing I thought might be an interesting, just like sidewinder in there, is that, like, I forgot about this. Like, does Lilith ever discover firsthand that the vaccines are doing something?
I don't think
so. I don't think so, right?
Right. Yeah.
I feel like she should be advocating the vaccines.
Wait, let me think about that.
Does she? Like, maybe does she?
Where would she get that? Oh, from the when they finally get the paper from Matt and Jennifer. I feel like when she gets the Mandala document or whatever.
Right, and that's when she knows that there's something going on with the vaccine.
Something going on with the vaccine, but I don't think she knows.
And that's towards like the end of the show, right? Like the end of the movie. So like maybe from the point, you know, because we really become privy to the vaccine after Jeff dies, and we go to the Pentagon, and there's a whole scene with Hollis and it's Craig Staples and the vaccine. I feel like Lilith at that point, she'll be getting vaccinated. She gets maybe vaccinated multiple times. Like and just like anybody, like think about like you know, because she's not the conspiracy person. I mean, she goes through this kind of unwinding and like retracing the footsteps of Jeff and getting back into the conspiracy, because that's what she used to be like. But at that point, she's just so, I mean, just back to the whole thing, like you don't fucking say there's no airplanes in the sky on September 12th. Mm-hmm. Like as the pandemic's happening, and it's like there's a vaccine. It's like, I want the vaccine. It's like, not only do I want it, but I should have it because I'm in a public place and I want to set a good example for people. She's not an anti-vaxxer at first.
Right. Yeah.
Which then, after going through all that, like even maybe to Vincelli, when she goes, I'll just take one more vaccine, just an extra vaccine, extra layer of security. You can shoot me up another vaccine. I'll be fine.
Yeah.
But then, like, of course, it gets to the point where she realizes it's like the fucking vaccine. Something's going on with the vaccine. And it's like, oh, shit.
Yeah, I like that, because that will be sensitive. That will be a sensitive topic. Like, you don't want this to be an anti-vaccine movie. You don't want it to be like labeled as an anti-vaccine, like, because that would just, attaching that stigma to it could do a lot of damage to it. You know, you don't want to align with anything. You want it to be ambiguous for what it is, and you want to present all sides. We don't want to push an agenda on this, except that's all we've ever talked about is pushing an agenda on this and trying to change the world and shit like that. Change the world with one movie. 90 minutes to change your mind.
Yep. Everyone ascends. That's when the ascension happens.
Yeah. Right after the movie, right when the credits
everyone
roll.
watches the movie, and once the credits roll, at the very end of the credits, everyone just they're up with Doug and Dave.
Doug and Dave, welcome. Doug and Bob.
Doug and Dave.
Doug and Bob are like, come on, man. They're at St. Peter's Gate. So like, come on up, man.
Dude, we should have that'll be we should add some scenes in there which might even get deleted, but there's just talk about the rocket scenes, like the launching of the satellites.
Oh yeah.
You know what it's like? It's like in The Simpsons. Those two aliens that sit in the UFO.
Oh yeah.
There's just Doug and Bob, and they're just in the International Space Station above the Earth. We just cut back to them for those little mini intermissions throughout the whole thing. Oh, I wonder what's going down there. We haven't heard from them in a while. What's going on?
Yeah. Doug. Yeah, Bob.
Doug. Doug. Bob.
There was a video that I saw the other day. It was two Russian cosmonauts talking while they were in space, and it was them having a kind of an existential conversation in space. It was unique. They were sitting next to each other, and one of the guys is like, "This is my last time. I'm not coming up. I'm not going into space ever again." Blah 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 blah. And the other guy's like, "Yeah, you said that last time." And he's like, "What about the parades and the welcome home?" And they got kind of really weirdly, sillily deep, but it was you never really hear real conversations in space. So I feel there could be a moment like that where Doug and Bob are just chaos down low, and then just cut to we pan up to Doug and Bob.
Yeah, and they're doing a podcast in space. That's them just floating around, being like, "Hey, let's start our own podcast. Let's Let's send the signal down. Maybe someone will hear this. Anybody out there? Hey, this is Doug and Bob podcast from space. Here we are above the Earth. That'll be our cameo. That's who we should play.
Oh, perfect.
Doug and Bob.
Who do you feel like?
I don't know. Maybe Doug.
I was gonna say you're Doug.
Yeah. Okay, Bob.
I'll be okay, Bob.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. So it's an interesting revelation, just thinking about Mandala in terms of the pandemic now and how that would affect the society and the character, just certain little nuance to as things kind of go down. It makes it way more realistic. Yeah, but we didn't know what realistic was back. No one did. Mm-hmm. Nothing like this ever happened.
Yeah, it's very helpful for writing the script. Unfortunately, it came about this way, but yeah, this is now we don't have to guess what would happen. We are seeing what's happening.
And it's not and that's a good thing to think about. It's we don't want to make this a movie that is very implicitly saying this movie isn't the headlines. Mandala comes out, this movie is an anti-vaccine movie and blah, blah. It's I'm sure people could think that, but it's if there's ways that we can, really lean on that's a MacGuffin in a way where it's not the vaccine that's dangerous as much as it's the precedent that it sets for mandating such a thing under such stressful circumstances where, similar to 9/11 and the Patriot Act, when we were in such fear and chaos mode that something like the Patriot Act was able to get through, and now we may never lose it. It may never go away. And it's one of those things that in our right mind, if we weren't stressed out, that is not something anyone would agree to.
Yeah, right.
Ever. So same thing with vaccines. It's if you want to get vaccinated, that's fine. And another thing, it's Uncle Bruce says, really important point about vaccines is that he's not an anti-vaccine person. He's against injecting vaccines. He's about developing oral vaccines, and they have oral vaccines, and they used to do that a lot. It's just much more convenient to just have a thing, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
So it's not about anti-vaccines. It's about the precedent that it sets with this whole thing. When we're under stress and we're in fear, we are more easily manipulated. And talk about I mean, this is definitely it's a conspiracy movie. So it's like on a grand level of things, it's like we authorize these things to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just it's because a vaccine doesn't kill anybody.
Right.
That's like what they're suggesting in the real world.
Yeah.
The anti-vaxxers. It's like vaccine's gonna make you turn you gay or something.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, and it doesn't do anything negatively to anybody except make them more susceptible to
The field, the vibrations.
the
Yeah.
bad vibes. So we can, what you just said, basically, we can have, like Jeff say, Jeff can always be the tone of, like, the perspective of the film. He could say, like, I'm not anti-vax. He can explain himself to what's this?
There's a big piece in the box, and then there's a lot in
Okay.
somewhere.
Thank
I just
you.
want you to throw the box out.
Okay.
There's a big piece right here.
I would never throw a pizza box out without looking inside. But yeah, Jeff can clarify, and so he can kind of be the underlying moral, as he always has been, so we can.
There he is. Oh my God, Mac.
What's up, bud?
Oh, Mr.
Oh my gosh, she doesn't come down here much.
Mac.
Hey, buddy.
Oh my God.
Say hi to Alex.
Look
Say
at
hi to
your
Alex.
face. Hey, Mac. Oh my God, Machiavelli. And the lighting right now, I can see him so much more. Like I can see he's so much more defined. A lot of times he's just like a shadow.
Well, he's getting that white all over the place now. There he goes. Oh, that just made my night.
Yeah.
Hey, what?
Hold on one second. I gotta.
Okay.
Respond.
Hey. Good boy, you want a treat? A treat? I got one here for you. Oh, yeah. Oh man, that Pepsi's kicking in right now.
Woo, Pepsi.
Is that a Beatles shirt? What are you wearing?
The
No.
Doors.
The Doors. Silly me.
No, not the Doors. The band.
Oh, the band. I got this shirt of the soccer coach for Arsenal that was there for 22 years. Maybe I've shown it to you, but everyone thinks it's Donald. Everyone thinks it's Donald Trump.
I know. I can totally see why people.
Yeah, I never saw that.
Yeah.
So now I can't fucking wear it out anywhere because everyone's like, "Oh,
no. Were you Trump guy?
yeah." No, Arsene Wenger, dude. Hi. Hi. There he is. Say hi, Mac. Hey, buddy. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Look at him. Oh. What's up? What's up? Oh. Okay. All right, here we go. Here we go. Machiavelli up, back upstairs.
Okay, it's all good. I'm just some texts. But yeah.
Yeah, so Jeff can kind of just explain the perspective of the movie, essentially, like, not against vaccines, I'm not against this, I'm not against this, I just think this, and that, you know? And that kind of informs Lilith on what she can, like, believe from then on, so.
Yeah.
We can clarify.
Yeah, that whole clarification.
Yeah.
He's the conspiracy guy, and he's also, it's like those little PSA things, like being very specific. It's almost like looking to the camera, being like, I'm not against vaccines.
Yeah.
Not that he would do that, but like
vaccines are good. Yeah, I know, but we'll kind of have to do that because it's so polarizing.
Yeah, because it's not about that, and it's a controversial subject. the controversy is not around safety. It's not about what you don't want to be safe. What you want your kids to die. That's not the controversy. The controversy is around the nature of the vaccines connected to the pharmaceutical companies as a mode of profit where they, I mean, the perfect example of that really like was where Mandala was born from, which was the swine flu scare. And that vaccine scenario, because that was the whole thing. Like, it'd be interesting. I don't know how to maybe how that could be communicated in there, but that the vaccines, you know, like oh my God, the pandemic, the swine flu is coming. Well, 1 or 2 people died, and then the pharmaceuticals like, oh shit, okay, well, we'll make a shit ton of vaccines, and then like nothing happens. So like, all right, well, let's make some commercials. We got all this product. We need to sell this product. And then, you know, only like young people and old people got them, and the thing never came. They tried to scare you, be like, get the vaccine, you're gonna die, and no one really died.
Yeah.
So like not the same as now, but like at the same time, it's like that's where this originated from.
Right. So you're saying maybe like kind of slide something in there like that just to kind of clarify.
Yeah, about the swine flu, like about the nature of the swine flu. Maybe like like towards like the beginning somehow. I don't know, like before the pandemic in Mandala happens, just to be like, hey, this is what was going on. But then this new novel thing starts to happen, and Jeff is no longer there, and Lilith has to figure it all out at that point.
So do you think the pandemic should actually start happening after Jeff is gone? Do you think that it should start happening later on in the movie, or do you think it should kind of should be slowly introduced in the beginning, or should it just be like, all right, we go on lockdown like after Jeff dies, or in the middle, like that's like the middle of the movie? Do you think it'd be better to kind of just to add escalation to it, just to kind of throw that on another log on the fire?
Like the lockdown shouldn't happen until definitely after Jeff dies.
Okay.
You know, like
maybe it'll be part of it.
It could be in the
Jeff dies, satellites, lockdown.
Wait, what was the first one?
Jeff dies.
Satellites launched.
Yeah. And then the lockdown.
That
all could kind of be like middle of the movie, like
a spike, because it's like after that, it's like in the wake of that Pentagon scene, that's when there's like the news coverage and all the talk about the rise, like, oh shit, people are dying, people are getting sick, case numbers are going up, and it's happening really, really fast. Okay, President Bacon's like, we got to lock this shit down. And that's another thing that's just like, I mean, I imagine his stance on it, because that was the thing we talked about, that he decided he wouldn't get vaccinated,
right?
Or he never had time, or something. It just so happened that for some reason he never got vaccinated.
He never got it,
and that's what ends up like saving the day in the end.
That's like
in the beginning.
Yeah, it's like knowing that he's okay because he didn't get the vaccine.
Yeah,
and he's saved, like he doesn't get killed.
Yeah,
that's kind of the hope, I guess, at the end. You know.
Yeah.
He's okay. He can do something about it.
Yeah, and it's like, and then because the shows are going on with the Dome almost right away, right?
Yeah, the Dome is part of the magisterial wonder of the show, is that it has its own dome.
Yeah, and that could be one of those things. I can see Vincelli in a press conference or something saying how, like, making the case for why the Liquid Crystal show needs to go on, because Vincelli, the great humanitarian, is like, well, we need to bring people together.
Yeah, we're social,
and we have this whole perfectly, it's a hermetically sealed dome.
Yeah,
and we'll vaccinate everybody on the way in.
Yeah, we'll make sure everybody's safe, everybody's clean, all the surfaces are clean. I got my vaccine just today, or there could be like a clip of him being like, here, look, here I am, I'm getting the vaccine, you know, thanks, doc, you know, and then walking away and being like, all right, you know, have a little tour or whatever one of those little music specials we could modify into that, and showing, you know, all the precautions that they're taking and how it is safe and how we're always been a community since you could even pull the Uncle Bruce. Our bodies are just a community of cells, and they need to work. They need each other to work together, and humanity is the same way. And to he could talk. That could be another way to talk shit about the president, because maybe the president initiated the lockdown. Like, so it's like, oh, this president wants to divide us and keep everybody at home, away from away from all of our friends and our communities. But humans need a community, and we need other human interaction, and we're taking it as our responsibility to continue those social just providing a space where you could still be social and interact and keep that humanity up.
An essential service.
Yeah, an essential service.
Essential workers.
Yeah.
All this language needs to go in there.
Oh my God, yeah.
And and that's the thing too. That's just like, again, back to the whole, this is not an anti-vaccine movie, because the vaccine's not what does it. It's the sound and the light frequencies and the mandala visuals and like the signal being sent.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like that's the whole Uncle Bruce thing. It's not you're not the receptor, you're the signal coming in.
Right.
So the receptor and the signal, and it's like that's mandala is the evil version of that, where we're gonna put a receptor on there so that you can receive our signal.
Yeah.
So it's like, just because you get the vaccine doesn't mean like that's going to do anything on its own.
Yeah, if you did the vaccine alone and then you never go to a show and you go out and you start living in the wilderness and don't interact with any of that stuff, you're fine.
Yeah, because the vaccine does vaccinate you.
Yeah, it does.
Also has this other shit.
Yeah, there is good stuff in there.
And that's honestly a relevant point when it comes to vaccines.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what's in the vaccines?
Right.
No one does. I mean, it's like a lock and key fucking thing.
Yeah, we don't see a breakdown of what's in there, like a receipt. Doesn't show us percentages of this, and that. Like, on the side of our things here, there's no ingredients on the vaccine. Yeah. We don't ever see that.
No, and it's like that's I think that's totally fair game. It's not it being about against vaccines. It's about being mindful about what happened, what kind of decisions are we being thrust to make while we're under stress.
Mm-hmm. And by who?
And by who, and what is the agenda there?
Mm-hmm. Right, that's the big thing.
Yeah.
It's a useful tool, just like everything else. It's a useful tool, but who's using it and what are they using it for?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it's always about. It's not like guns don't kill people, humans kill people, right? Like the gun's not the problem, the vaccine's not the problem. It's who uses the vaccine and what they're using it for and how they modify, like putting hollow points in there, instead of rubber bullets. Like a gun, you could still, imagine that there's a gun that you could put rubber bullets, you could put in bubbles, you could put in water, or you could put in bullets. It's like the gun still does the same thing, but it depends on what you put in the gun and what you're shooting. If you're shooting a bunch of bubbles at people, it's like, yay. If you're shooting hollow point bullets into them, their heads are exploding, But the gun is the same thing. Same thing with the vaccine. You could put all the good stuff in there to help get off all this, flus and all the things our bodies haven't built up anything naturally to do. But you can also slip some shit in there that could fuck you up. But it doesn't make the whole vaccine bad.
No. It's similar to epigenetics as well, because epigenetics says it's not the DNA that's controlling your life. It's how the DNA is expressed. It's through your consciousness is exposing it. So it's that whole thing where it's not the what, it's the how. Again, and even a car and a driver.
Right.
If an enraged, drunken person gets into a car and kills somebody, was it the car that killed him, or was it the person driving the car that killed him?
Right.
And even in a way, it's not the big picture. It's not either or. It's not one or the other. It was both in that situation.
Yeah.
And that's really what is going on here, because like just imagining what type of people thinking like in terms of vaccines, and like, what is this movie trying to tell us? It's like, is it trying to tell us that we shouldn't get the vaccine? It's like, no, that's not what is going on here. It's more be mindful of your surroundings. Like look, try to trace back and see that this is there are a lot of good people trying to do the right thing, but at the same time, there's exploitation going on.
Right. And it's essentially like, yes, there are all these MacGuffins, as you were saying, and you know, the red herrings and these distractions, and it's kind of built around distracting Lilith, essentially. So the core of the movie isn't anything on that surface level. It's her trying to figure out who she is, like you said, trying to be free, like what we've recently figured out. Like she's just wanting to be free, but she's also figuring out who she is along the way. Like all these other things are constantly coming in, and Jeff has always been there her whole life, you know, with good intentions, but whispering in her ear and affecting how she saw the reality.
Yeah.
You know, she's a sponge, you know, and that's how she got to where she got. It's because she was good at adapting and good at incorporating new things and old things, but she was always an amalgamation of all this other stuff. And then, like we were talking about, you know, how her kind of linking her self-worth to her success in her musical career, you know, instead of being self-worth from who she is as a person. So that would be the theme of the movie, is her figuring out who she is. And then by the end, it doesn't matter what she does because it's going to be her doing it. You know, she's like, you know what? I know who I am now, and it doesn't matter. That makes me free. And it doesn't matter if I got the vaccine or if I'm, you know, defeating the enemy, or if I'm telling everyone to run for their life or whatever. It's like, I'm me. I figured they were doing so hard, trying so hard to not let her figure out who she is. And that's kind of like what's happening in our world on a larger level, on a smaller level. It's like anything to distract you from figuring out who you are. Because the people you could tell the people who walk differently and talk differently. It's like, oh shit, that person knows who they are. And you can't fuck with them. You can't fuck with them. You can't
know thyself from the Matrix.
Exactly. Right, exactly. So, and Jeff knows who he is, and that's his big advantage and why he's so endearing through the whole time. And Lilith has no idea who she is because she just thinks she's who she sees on TV and on the billboards and who Vincelli tells her.
She thinks she's, I mean, she defines herself by the past, by default from the traumatic experiences that she's had. And that's really what people do. When you have a traumatic experience that can rule your life, that's what post-traumatic stress disorder is in a lot of ways. And like, we'll just keep repeating it over.
Yep. Carrying, like I saw like a, you know, one of those silly cliche motivational things, but it's like, if you keep bringing old bricks with you, you're going to keep building the same old house, you know, everywhere you go. It's the same with her until so it's not about the vaccines. It's not about the light and the music manipulating you. It's not about other people manipulating you. It's not about the conspiracy. It's about you having all of this stuff 24/7 come at you, trying to tell you who you are, but then you finally being like, no, that's not who I am. This is who I am.
And that's like a question Uncle Bruce, before the 5G thing and the pandemic, when Uncle Bruce would be asked a question repeatedly about, like, I live under high tension power lines, and the electromagnetic fields from these power lines coming down on me, like, how is this going to affect my cells? Like, is this bad? And Uncle Bruce would say something along the lines of how, not necessarily. If you look, of course, people that live under power lines, and if they're stressed out, they could get sick.
Yeah.
But there are people that live right next door under the same power lines that don't get sick. Why is that? Because they have a strengthened field, not just physically, mentally. They got belief systems that support health and all that stuff. So when you don't have that field around you, you're susceptible. It's like holes in your auric field, and then shit will just come in and get you. And now, it's funny, like now the 5G, now people aren't talking about the high tension lines. Now they're like, well, what about the 5G? Like the 5G is going to melt my brain. Bruce, tell me, like, basically verify to me, Bruce, that the 5G is going to melt my brain so that I can go tell everybody to fuck off with their 5G.
That's what they want to hear, right? That it is.
Want to hear.
Yeah.
That's what they want to hear. And that is not what he says. Like, and it's changed a little bit now because, of course, 5G, there are questionable things. So he doesn't say it exactly the same now. It's a little ambiguous, but again, back to the mandala point here. It's like, this is the whole big teaching about all the conspiracy theories in this movie, is that if you know who you are and you accept yourself and really let go of all of the things that you can't control, And recognize like and ask yourself, like, what can I control? I can control my being. And that's what she does. She takes control of her life in that final scene of Mandala. She dies, but still.
Because she's okay. Because she decides that that's okay.
Yeah.
Somebody else.
Yeah. And it's like, it's great layers of thinking that go into like what that's about. But that's the whole thing. Like with all these conspiracies, chemtrails, invisible reptilian spraying mind control gas, the nanites, the fucking Illuminati, whatever it is. It's like, yeah, none of that shit's relevant when you get down, when you know who you are. And that's exactly, like you said, that's what they're trying to get her to distract her from. As long as she doesn't know who she is and accept who she is, like, as long as we can keep her in this fucking, like, trance, basically, then we can manipulate her. She'll do what we want.
Yeah. And that's why Jeff is such a threat, is because he's kind of a mirror to her and he's honest with her, and which promotes her self-awareness to an extent. You know, so he threatens that. So anybody around her that promotes her being her personal self, and not like we were talking about, maybe having the stage name is Lilith and maybe her other name is Lillian or whatever. Like, you know, like, but you're Lilith, like you being like, no, you're Lilith, you know, you're the great, you know, if she's having like a down moment, like, you know, I'm just tired, but like, oh, but you're the great Lilith. Like you can't be that, just kind of reaffirming this, you are this separate like icon thing. Yeah. You're not a human being. That's the whole thing, is like, she's struggling to be with a human being, struggling to be a human being the whole time, and you know, doesn't kill herself because she's not a human being. Like, she's too big to die, and then at the end
she tries to, but Barnhart stops her.
Yeah, exactly. And then at the end, she's like, "Oh, you think you're gonna kill me? But no, I'm as a human being, I'm letting myself, you know, letting the end of my cycle come. You're not forcing it upon me."
Yeah. And that's just the beautiful essence of Mandala, because it is and it isn't at the same time. It's life and death, birth and death at the same time.
Right.
Is the fulfillment of Barnhart's wishes and desires at the same time is the downfall of Barnhart. Mm-hmm. It's the Phoenix energy. It's the birth and death cycle demonstrated in that Mandala, that transformation state. That's that's pretty. So that's what the movie's about.
Now, how do we get that in there?
Now, how do we put that in there? It'll happen. Yeah.
It'll. I gotta go over the notes that we got before again, and then rewatch the Lilith podcast we did. But it's, I mean,
God bless. God bless.
Yeah, allergies. I promise.
Did you get your vaccine?
Yes. Right now.
Right here.
Get out.
Oh, dude, yeah. Like maybe when they do the vaccine, they give you like a little, like there's like a thing, you know, like when you go to a concert and they put the sticker on your hand, like the thing. They could put a stamp on your hand with a mandala on it.
Oh,
and then that's where they know where to inject it, right into the middle of the mandala.
I like that.
You get a stamp, the vaccine, and everyone can show their little mandala, and that's the sign they got the vaccine.
And it'll be kind of like a uniting thing, like I voted, you know, like an I voted.
Yes.
Oh, you got the mandala, yeah.
I got vaccine twice. I got 2 of them.
those kids who go to all the, what are they called? Just the kids who have like 100 wristbands on because.
Yes. Oh yeah. I used to be one of those guys.
Yeah, dude. Like.
Yep.
Festival kids.
Look how many times I went to Liquid Crystal just like covered with them.
Yeah, maybe they stay on for a couple of weeks. They're like one of those like temporary tattoos.
Yeah, like a henna tattoo. Yeah, temporary tattoo. Yeah.
There you go. Fuck, we've been branded.
Oh man, this is crazy.
It is crazy. Indeed.
This is why we couldn't make Mandala in 2009.
Right. Or anytime.
Yeah, or anytime. I mean,
anytime yet.
It's coming.
We have.
The baby's coming.
Getting closer, man. This will be once you watch this be like the first movie once theaters are finally able to be normal again.
Yeah.
Like no social distancing. Once everything is back to be like, it's okay to be next to a stranger. The biggest movie coming out at that time when everybody will want to go to a fucking movie and feel safe about it.
Yeah.
Go, perfect timing.
Yeah.
Right then, and then all of a sudden, oh, by the way, it's relevant.
Yeah.
Oh, how convenient.
Yeah. That's a really good point too, in terms of the consciousness of the public for the movie, for everyone to, it's like, that'll be the, when people feel safe again. Like
Yeah.
it won't be normal. It won't be the way it was, but it'll be a new level, like a new threshold of, okay, we're here now. We can go out and then like, let's sit down and watch this nice movie. And
Maybe we can even have a thing like they hand out 3D glasses, but instead of handing out 3D glasses, we could send out stamps to all the theaters when we premiere it, and everyone can get a mandala stamp, just like the people in the movie. So they could be like, "Oh yeah, mandala stamp, okay."
yeah, oh dude, and that's like, we talked about that, a type of thing
Yeah.
where like you leave the theater and it's like in your hands or whatever. Like,
There's something in this reality that links you to that reality.
yes, the stamp.
Yeah.
That'll get people to think about shit.
Or you can give people, I mean, maybe, or you could give them the option to, do you want like a temporary tattoo? Or you could hand them, you could just hand out like the ones that you
Hand them out.
Yeah, just hand them out. The ones that you just rub on with water. You
Yeah.
can hand those out.
You can do it if you or not. No, we should have guys stamping people at the door.
It's got to be here.
Yeah, it's got to be there. Oh man, that's a cool idea though. A little like a mandala temporary tattoo that really locks in the change.
You bring it home with you, man. You know,
Home with you.
can't really escape it for a day or
No.
two. You know.
If you want it off, you're gonna have to scrub it off.
Yeah.
Not coming off on its own.
Mm.
Wow.
We are imprinted on you.
That's,
You made the choice. You made the choice.
made the choice. You made the choice.
You bought the ticket. You take the ride.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and there's acid in it. Ah! 1,000 hits of acid.
You got.
That was our plan all along. Yeah, we've had an agenda. Our agenda has not changed since 2007.
So,
There's this great book, Your Brain is God. We just wanted to, like, remember that movie Wild in the Streets?
Yep.
That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
And that's like a concert too, which is kind of crazy. Like there's a lot of
Yeah. Hal Holbrook, right?
Al Holbrook, yeah.
On the streets. What was that teacher's name? David
David Johnson,
Johnson. Best teacher ever.
best teacher. That music you would play, like come walking in, just be like getting the vibe, getting the feel. If you've
That's
seen
how I
this
want-
movie, you don't have to
Oh,
stay
I went
here.
to the class. Yeah. It's like, yeah, fuck it.
I'll stay here.
Yeah.
That was definitely one of my favorite class. Like all three of the history classes I took with him were the best.
Yep. Super cool. That's how teachers should be, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Shout out to David Johnson.
David Johnson, thank
Let's
you
work-
so much. Hope you're
Let's
well.
make-
Hope you're
come
alive
make
and well.
this movie. Come make this movie with us.
Yeah, really. You're in. No questions. You're in.
Run them up. Checks in the mail.
Checks in the mail. Get David Johnson. We get Oglesby.
Oglesby, get David Satlin. And then maybe he's stuck in China. I don't know.
We should get Andrew Kessler for something.
Oh, Kessler. Oh,
He could be the one that signs the checks.
I love it. Yes. He'd be the man in the brown suit.
Oh my God, he'd be a perfect man in the brown suit. No lines. You just see him like walking eerily back and forth between like.
But he's always signing stuff. What's with that guy?
Fuck, where's a pen? I want to do that. I don't know. But yeah, like that. Oh my God, that's. I remember asking him like, why do you do that? He's like, oh well, he had some good explanation. Like it
Of
helps
course
you
he did.
helps you write better.
Sure it did. Dean.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed.
Okay. True story.
Uh-huh. So, yeah. We should... What should we do? What do we do now? I mean, it's... God, I just wish... Like, I love writing it, but I wish that we could just do this and then somebody else would be like, all right, I got it. I'll just throw it in there.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So now I'm gonna have to tell you the story now because it's very relevant. So we had some LSD, and Mike and I on Memorial Day weekend, we had a little journey down to my parents' house,
Okay.
and it was hilarious. It was a great time. Very mild, in the backyard. Good time. Remember, like I actually brought that book back up with me, the Brain is God book.
Nice.
And there's the the different intentions. and
Yep.
one of them is like just just have a good time, sensual, see the colors, and just laugh. No major like internal work or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's what that one was. It was just like a fun, good time, and we had a vague intention about wanting to write something, but we didn't really. We kind of we ended up taking notes and writing some stuff down. We talked about fractals. Talk about like refrigerators and like going back in time and inventing refrigerators. It was this like really hilarious story. And then we started talking about Back to the Future. Like, wait a minute, it wasn't Back to the Future originally supposed to be, instead of a DeLorean, a refrigerator, which is true. And we're like,
Okay.
oh shit, that's right. And like all this stuff kind of came together. Like this whole hilarious night of, one of the funniest things was because we were on a FaceTime with Corey and Steve, and there was a while it was coming on that they were talking about Tom Cruise and Top Gun and True Romance, and arguing about it. And Corey was advocating for Tony Scott. Steve was saying Tony Scott's bullshit.
Okay.
And this one must have went on for hours. Like Mike and I would sit there, listen to it for a while, and then we get up, go to the laundry room, stare at the Wonderland stuff for a while, come
Nice.
back. They're still talking about Tom Cruise. We're going over there like for hours. Like we'd leave and come back. There was like, you're still talking about Tom's Cruise. And then like that later on in the night, we were talking about like Tom's Cruise and like, wait a minute, Tom's Cruise. And then that just became a whole thing. Like we realized we're on Tom's Cruise.
I love that.
Like and like it turned into this like crazy thing. Like imagining Tom Cruise is like this hive mind consciousness that, you wouldn't, if you're like in Scientology, you wouldn't be able, if you question Tom Cruise, you wouldn't know about that because you just wouldn't exist. Because if you question Tom Cruise, you would cease to exist. Like there's all these like weird things about being in the mind of Tom Cruise. But anyway, after all this stuff with Back to the Future, and you know how it is, like it was this whole thing, and we came down. The final thing we watched was Back to the Future, and we started, thinking about it. We didn't write anything, but the way it felt like is that we invented Back to the Future, went back in time, and imagined that paper that we wrote all that stuff down on, like we were like saying, we need to take this to Hollywood tomorrow. This is the movie right here. And you have to read it like this because it was written in like spirals and shit. So we just imagine like knocking on Robert Zemeckis' door, and he opens the door, and we just like go and show him the paper. And then he just falls over, hits his head on the door or whatever, just like Doc Brown, wakes up and remembers that underneath his refrigerator, he has a sealed envelope from 1985 that he hasn't opened. He takes us in, brings us to the refrigerator, opens up the envelope, sealed up, dust, pulls out the paper. It's the exact same paper that we wrote. So like at the end of the night, the last thing we were thinking was like, you know what, man, maybe we didn't write anything now, but we invented we created Back to the Future, invented refrigerators, and saved the world. We're not credited for this movie. We didn't write it, but we know.
We know.
We made that movie.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty successful evening, I'd say.
Yeah.
If you're okay with not taking credit for things.
Yeah, that was the one thing. It's like, man, that could have made it. We could have made it big time. But
you'll get plenty of credits for stuff that you didn't do in the future.
Yes.
Classic executive producer Alex Lin that he had nothing to do with. You'll have about a dozen of those.
Oh yeah.
Because they'll just want to throw your name on it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, for all to make up for all the other movies.
From the director of Mandala. even though you weren't even on set.
Yep. Nope. There. Had nothing to do with it. It's like Tyrion at the end of Game of Thrones. It's like, oh, where am I in the book? You're not in there. Nowhere. It's like, what?
Sweet, man. That's a cool idea about creating or inspiring Back to the Future. That's the only movie that it works for, right?
Yeah, it was very fitting because like the thing that really motivated it was because we're seeing fractals everywhere. It wasn't really heavy, but we were just like heavy. Something wrong with the Earth's gravitational pull. We were seeing, like, looking at the counter and like, oh wow, the fractals, look at the fractals, there's fractals. And then we like looked at the refrigerator, just like a stainless steel block, and we're like, oh, there's no fractals there. You know what? Fuck fractals. And we like poured a drink. We're like, you know what? Fuck fractals. Let's get a real job. and we started drinking, and then we started thinking, like there's fractals everywhere except for this refrigerator. So just imagining like this superhero character named Fractal Man and his origin story, where he was a mild-mannered refrigerator maker, just minding his own business, making refrigerators. And then all of a sudden, when he opened the refrigerator, a fractal emerged from the refrigerator and ate him. And then he became one with the fractals. So this whole thing was like refrigerators. It was just a lot of laughing. We weren't even taking this seriously at all at the time, but it was just a silly idea that, somehow the refrigerator was exempt from fractals. Okay. And then it's like, but wait, look, if you look closely, no, there's no fractal there. Just white. So then it's like, and then Mike was the one that was like, because we talked about Back to the Future and all this stuff, and he's like, wait a minute. Wasn't their idea about a time machine a refrigerator? I was like, holy shit, you're right. And then that's when we conceived of it.
Perfect.
That's when we conceived Back to the Future.
That was the moment.
Yeah. It's fucking hilarious, dude.
And not to mention Indiana Jones.
Oh, right.
Being saved from a nuclear explosion by hiding in a refrigerator.
That's not a car. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Wow, interesting. Yep.
Man. Thanks for doing that, you and Mike. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun. So like, again, back to the idea. Wouldn't it be nice if you could just have the idea and then it is made?
Yeah, then it's out there. Show up at Robert Zemeckis' house.
Yeah.
We got it all figured out. It looks like this.
Yep. Look at this.
Go make it.
Yep. That's what happened. Like he fell over, hit his head, and came up with Back to the Future.
Perfect. Wow. Good job.
Yeah. We were like the Doc and like the Rick and Morty showing up at his house through a portal. Yeah. So funny.
Yeah, good work. I've casually watched all 3 of those recently.
Oh, really?
I think they're all on Netflix now, I think.
Oh, nice.
So I've thrown them on and watched, just how I'm watching this right now, basically.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Oh, there it is.
Oh, no. Big baby face. Big baby face.
Yeah, it's like mandala and fractals. I mean, this movie is going to be one big fractal.
Dude, have you heard about Tom Cruise making a movie in space?
No, really?
They're going to make the fucking first movie in space with Tom Cruise, man. I heard they're even thinking about calling it Tom's Cruise.
No.
Tom's Cruise in space.
Tom's Cruise in space. God, if that happens.
No, but they are. I think they're going to shoot on the space station and shit.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
that makes sense. He would do that.
Doug, Bob, Tom.
Doug, Bob, Tom. Neil.
Phil.
Everyone
who was our wall? Remember we had Jim, Bob. Remember our posters?
Oh. Jim, Bob.
It was two jobs. It was Jimmy. Wasn't Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison, Bob Marley.
Jim, Bob, and Jim. Yeah, because Jim Morrison was there too.
Yeah, wasn't there? I feel like there was one more. I feel like there was a fourth.
Jim,
I don't remember.
Bob,
Dave. Little Davey. No, he wasn't in there. I mean, he was on that wall.
Dave was on that wall.
That little picture
with
of
his
him
hand in his pants. Yeah. Man, I wonder if that picture even exists anymore on the internet.
Oh, probably not. They scrubbed that shit out of there.
Yeah, like, no one will know. No one will know the truth about Dave.
Well, maybe because he's very self-conscious of his body figure at this point. Maybe he likes how he looked in that. He looked a little lean.
Yeah.
No,
Collins was in the East Wing.
Phil Collins?
No, not Phil Collins. Peter Gabriel.
But I think Phil was in there too.
Yeah.
I think Phil was in there.
Yeah.
He had to have been.
Yeah.
Phil Cotter, dude.
Yeah, Phil. Of course he was.
Of course, Phil Cotter was.
We would not have gone 10 seconds without putting him on the wall.
No. Oh, gee. I just started following his daughter on Instagram because I didn't realize she's a actress. Yeah, Lily Collins.
Lily, really?
Wait, hold on, fuck, is that her name?
Are you kidding me?
I didn't even think about that.
No.
Holy shit.
No, it can't be.
I'm pretty sure it is, dude.
Yeah,
She was in The Blind Side. She looks like she played Jennifer Connelly's daughter in a movie, and she looks like Jennifer Connelly. I'm pretty sure it's fucking Lily Collins. I'm gonna die right now. Yep, it's Lily J. Collins. That's his daughter, and she's beautiful. Holy fuck, is she?
Well,
Holy shit!
maybe she should be.
Oh my god, dude!
Maybe she should be in the movie.
Holy shit! I didn't
That is blowing my mind. We go from Phil Collins to Phil Cotter to Francis Bacon to Lilith to Lily.
Lily.
No.
Her name is Lily, and they call her Lilith.
They call her Lilith?
No, I don't. No, I'm just saying that could be. That could be. Oh no, that could. But that's
Yeah, her name is Lily, but they call her Lilith.
Yeah, and she's beautiful, and she's an actress. And she's
Um,
Phil Collins' daughter.
that
Well, I didn't even fucking think about that.
that's wow. That could be she's an actress?
Yeah, she was in The Blind Side. I haven't really.
Why am I not looking her up? I got a computer right here.
And
What am I
yeah,
doing?
dude, look her up. She's got some serious eyebrows. She's super cute. She's beautiful. She's younger than us.
Comes up.
She's younger than us.
Oh yeah.
She was in a movie with Craig Kinnear and Jennifer Connelly.
That's right. Oh yeah, she plays Jennifer Connelly's daughter in a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. Wow, she looks a lot like her.
Yeah, she's got the brows.
What in the shit
Lily Collins, holy shit.
are you?
In The Blind Side, her name is Collins too. And I was like, we started like watching that as a family kind of because it was on. And then they called her Collins, and my sister, my mom was like, yeah, that's Phil Collins' daughter. I was like, wait, what? But still didn't click. And then I followed her on Instagram. It still didn't click until I just said it now, Lily Collins. Wow.
Okay.
What a roller coaster. Do they make mandala-shaped roller coasters? Because that's what the fuck we're on right now.
Yeah, that's I think they do. Somebody made one. That's what the end of Interstellar. That's what that was.
Oh, yeah, there you go. There you go.
Oh fuck.
Oh, okay.
His daughter's name is Lily. Interesting. Where this all came from?
It is. Phil.
Phil.
Phil
Bob.
did it.
Doug.
Oh, Bob, Doug, Lily. Wow, okay. Seriously. All right.
Okay, well that's crazy. That's not crazy. It's just like holy shit. That's a holy shit. There's a lot of holy shits going on right now.
Yeah. As if we needed another thing, but
Yeah, I know. As if we needed. Yeah, just when we thought things were getting crazy.
yeah. Well,
You're on the Mandala roller coaster.
little confirmation. There's no up, there's no down, there's no around. You're just on it. When I was on perusing Reddit like a month ago or something like that, somebody commented, I totally don't remember anything relevant about the thread, but somebody was like, oh man, I just had a mandala moment. And I read that and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, hold on, a mandala moment, is that a thing? So then I like casually was like, can you just explain what you meant by mandala moment? And then somebody corrected, he's like, I'm pretty sure this guy meant Mandela moment, which is a term.
Yeah, like you forget like a Mandela effect.
But I was like, I was going to comment like, oh, fuck, because I was worried that was already out there. But mandala moment's not going to be a thing for a couple of years now. I was going to like jokingly say that, like, oh, I wasn't sure if it was out yet, but it's coming, but I wasn't sure if it was here yet because a mandala moment will be a thing. I just wasn't sure if it had already reached back from time, to be like, oh, it's a mandala moment. But that would be a mandala moment, wouldn't it?
And I could see that literally really see people saying that like after like in the wake of mandala, that being a thing, like having a mandala.
Well, apparently it is because that guy wrote it. So it's already like, I always, you have always tried to teach me about time. And I still struggle with it, but I do see, it was always been very easy for me to see it as like a puddle, like the moment in time, it ripples out forward and backwards and up and down. So if something happens in the future, it still trickles backwards. So, the closer you get to it, the more potent it gets because it's about to happen. Yep. Have you seen Tenet, the preview for Tenet?
No, I haven't, not yet.
Okay, well, dude, that's fucking it. Things go backwards, but they go forwards.
Yeah.
They're like, were you here when it happened? He's like, no, because it hasn't happened yet. I think that's one of the lines. Denzel Washington's son.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right. That's so cool.
But yeah, it's kind of like that. So mandala is reaching back in time, and this guy had a mandala moment, and then I just happened to see him mistype that,
At that
and then
moment.
some guy corrected. So it's already affecting people clearly
Yeah.
because we're in the middle of this is a mandala moment in the
We're in
world.
a
right?
mandala moment. We're in the mandala moment.
Yeah,
And
that's a mandala moment right there too. On my TV.
oh yeah, that is.
That's,
I'm watching The Hobbit.
Oh, The Hobbit. Yeah,
Yeah, I think Jeff's about to die in The Hobbit.
I don't think I've watched The Hobbit all the way through.
Not great.
Yeah,
Not a great
why.
movie. The third one was probably the best, but even another mandala moment was when we were at the house and two of our favorite bands released albums while we were writing on the walls. A fucking song was called "Writing on the Walls."
Yeah,
First song, "Writing on the Walls," and then there's then the next album. It was later on, but there was a mandala from them, and then there was a mandala from Circus Survive.
Yeah, Circus Survive was the first one for me.
Yeah.
Because that was the name of their song. And then The Writing on the Wall, and then that other band.
Oh, RX Bandits.
RX Bandits came
Their
out.
album was called Mandala.
Well, their album's come on now, yeah.
And when I saw the Deer Hunter, that's who they played with.
Right, yeah, because that's
when you came out to visit.
Yeah. You came right after the show.
You was at Corey's, yeah.
Yep. And then we watched Remember the House, yeah. It's like it's all connected.
That's a mandala moment.
That's a mandala
when you start being like, then this, and 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 all this, and then okay. It's mandala moment.
Lily Collins.
Lily Collins.
What in the fuck? I wonder, hold on, I didn't look up her.
That's crazy. That is fucking wild.
Yeah, her name is actually Lily. Lily Jane Collins. And her mom was Jill Tavelman. She's a year younger than you. March 18th, 1989.
March
18th. How about that?
Unbelievable. Oh, no, believable.
Is the first quote that came up of hers. I want to dig deep, tell the truth, and be more brave.
That's what she said?
Yeah. From last year, yeah.
Lily said that. Lily Collins said
Lily Collins said that, yeah.
She said that.
Said, I want to dig deep, tell the truth, and be more brave.
Whoa. I have a feeling we should investigate her a bit.
Agreed. I have that feeling as well.
I can imagine that.
Oh, she was in Tolkien.
Oh, she was?
Yeah, she played the love interest. That's probably where I remember her more recently. I really like that movie. I think I told you that.
Yeah, you did. You did.
But yeah, so she was in that. She's legit. She's like everything I've seen from her, I haven't seen anything where it was bad, So the bare minimum, she's decent enough that she's
legit. And I can see a total mandala moment happening where we have that we see her,
mm-hmm.
and it's like Barnhart and Vincelli being like, "Hey, got this great movie. I want you to be in this movie. You were made to be in this movie. It's your life's calling." And then when she starts realizing it, she'll realize it is her life's calling.
Yeah.
Your father, actually.
Well, maybe we'll run into her.
What the fuck? What the fuck? Oh my god.
Yeah, the process we got to, the whole thing, but then even just coming up with the name of Lilith, it took us so long to even come up with that name after we changed it to a female.
Yeah, which wasn't even our idea.
It was Robert Zemeckis' idea.
It was fucking Robert Zemeckis. And the whole time we're on Tom's Cruise. Oh, and the other funny thing about Tom's Cruise is that we started saying, like, what if, if you're on Tom's Cruise, you can't look to the other person next to you and be like, are we on we're on Tom's Cruise, right? Because then that's like, you might embarrass yourself. It's like, obviously we're on Tom's Cruise. Or the even scarier thing is if you say, are we on Tom's Cruise? And they'll be like, no, we're on Joe's Cruise. Like the off-brand Tom's Cruise, there's Joe's, like
Joe's
the
Cruise.
similar but not exactly the same. And that whole night, we were just
What
talking
about
about this.
Penelope's?
The what's that?
You could be on Penelope's cruise.
Penelope's Cruise, yeah. Oh yeah, that's the cruise I would rather be on.
Me too. Me too. I'd much
Penelope's
rather be
Cruise.
on Penelope.
Tom's Cruise is like really strict.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Penelope's cruise, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You can talk shit about Tom's cruise the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
If you
Yeah.
really, or you could talk shit about Penelope's cruise. She doesn't care.
Don't settle for Tom's Cruise or Joe's Cruise. Get your ass to Penelope's Cruise. It's really important. Oh man! And then like at the end of the night, dude, we were watching Back to the Future, and there's that part when Marty, in the very beginning, is like says goodbye to Jennifer, and she gives him the number on the back of the form, and it's just like he kisses her and like he puts his head in her face, like their hair. It's like almost like he's smelling her hair.
Okay.
And he comes back and he goes in the song, "That's the power of love," and then he goes home. And then all of a sudden it dawned on us, like, how funny would it be if we edit a music video of The Power of Love to Joe Biden clips of Joe Biden just like smelling people's hair and like doing campaign rallies with his aviator glasses on, like, don't need money, don't take fame. Just smelling people's hair. That's the power of love.
That'd be perfect, man.
And then we're like, oh, fuck, Joe's Cruise.
Joe's cruise. His cruise isn't going anywhere right now.
Yeah, it's really not even, I wouldn't call it a cruise.
It's docked.
Yeah.
It's always docked.
Like
That was about to go. That was about to leave, but it never actually leaves.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like Hotel California.
Exactly.
Take a Joe's Cruise to Hotel California. You never really left. You'll never get there, and you really aren't even there in any way.
Even when you're there, you're not there. Because he's not. That's a deeper metaphor. Because he's there, but he's not, right?
He's there, but he's not.
Are we on Joe's Cruise? I don't know.
Fuck if I know. Rather be on Penelope's Cruise.
I'd much rather be on Penelope's Cruise.
Fucking Penelope's Cruise.
What a party!
Way more tropical.
Oh my god, yeah. Just good times all over. Every deck. New party.
Holy shit, man. This is great.
Lily Collins.
Lily. What did she say? I just want to dig deep, tell the truth, and be brave.
Yeah, basically. I want to dig deep, tell the truth, and be more brave.
That's like the last podcast we did. We're like, let's figure out what Lily's motivation. There it is. Those are the answers to all those questions.
It is. That is it.
It literally is.
Dude.
Tell the truth and be brave. Be braver. Whatever.
Be more brave.
Be more brave. That's like, am I alive? Are we awake right now? It's like, what's going on? My vaccine. I need a vaccine. I'm having a Mandala moment. I need a vaccine.
Oh my goodness.
Hoo-wee.
I need a vaccine.
Lily Collins.
Lily Collins.
Oh my God.
You know what? I'm going to try to message her later, see what happens.
Yeah, dude. Fuck.
Slide into the DMs.
Here. Oh my God.
AJ Collins.
Yeah, I could
I'm
totally.
going to spend the whole rest of the night watching interviews with her. I can already see it.
God, she's Phil Collins' daughter. It's perfect.
Yes. It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. I usually don't say I can't believe it, but it's almost unbelievable. How great that Mandala moment that is. Phil Cotter, dude.
Phil Cotter, the original, the man who made Mandala, who manipulated Uncle Bruce.
Yeah.
Coming up with this idea.
Yeah.
By manipulating thousands of people to clap.
Oh, I got an idea.
And what came out of his dick? Lily Collins.
Lily Collins. Her name is Lily.
She started as an idea, dude.
Yeah, big idea in the making. Holy shit. Lily Jane Collins.
Lily Jane Collins. She wants to dig deeper, tell the truth, and be more brave.
I can't say.
Put on your spectacles, young man.
Spectacles. Yes. Her signature is really cool too.
Of course it is.
Oh my god. Oh, she was in that what's that with Jeffrey Dahmer?
Extremely wicked,
Yeah,
shockingly evil and vile. Yeah, that's why I saw something with her and Zac Efron.
that's right. Have you seen that movie?
I haven't.
It's good. It's intense.
I bet.
Wow, she was really good in that. And the fact that she played Jennifer Connelly's daughter.
Right. Oh fuck! I didn't even think about that. Jennifer Connelly. Jennifer.
Connelly. Jennifer.
Yeah.
Thor. I know.
Thor. It's really exciting. I know. It's really exciting.
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
What the fuck, Ruby?
I know. It's almost too much for me to handle too, Thor. It'll be okay though, buddy.
Holy fractal poopies.
Holy fractal poopies. Wow. Wow.
That's I'm trying to evaluate. It's like because we're still in it. We're still in the mandala moment. But
Yeah.
The managerial aspect of my consciousness is trying to evaluate and say this is probably one of the big mandala moments we've had. I mean, we've had a
Yes.
lot of really great ones. It's hard to quantify it linearly, but this is definitely a big one.
She has a tattoo that says, "True delicacy is not a fragile thing. You can look delicate, but it doesn't mean that you're fragile."
Wow.
That is Lilith.
Man,
She looks delicate.
does, but
She
she's
appears to be fragile, but she's not. She's resilient as fuck.
just like a certain character in a movie that we're developing.
Exactly.
What the fuck? Wow.
Wow.
I mean, amazing, just amazing.
Thank you. That was, you know who that was? That was Bob and Doug.
Bob and Doug. The fact that Bob and Doug are up there doing some great shit.
Dude, already. Instant rewards here.
Yeah. Whatever. Keep up the good work, Bob. Doug.
They're the two guys. We needed their perspectives in space. Now they're our satellite. They're connecting all the things.
There are
They're
satellites.
They're our satellites, man. That's something Jeff could get into too. Man. He's like, dude, fuck satellites. We need Bob and Doug up there, dude.
Yeah, Bob and Doug are real satellites.
Because they'll be up there. He'll talk. He'll be like, those are the good guys up there. They're trying to help us out. They're canceling out the evil 5G satellites, man. We got Bob and Doug, dude. Superhero.
Yep. Bob and Doug.
Unsuspecting. The most unsuspecting superheroes, satellites.
Bob, Doug, move along. Oh, come on through. Oh, wait. Those were the guys that were going to foil the plan? Oh, shit.
Ah, shit.
They're
Too
in
late
space
now.
now?
They're already up there.
Too late. Shit. All right, well, we better
They're-
activate the 5G right now.
Yeah, hurry up.
Hurry.
They're going 20,000 miles an hour. We got to hurry up.
That's so crazy how fast they were going, man.
From in a minute, they're already
it's-
going that fast.
They were going like 1,000 miles an hour in like 5 minutes. Less.
Yeah. They're just kicking it. Just chilling.
Yeah. That one, it was Bob or Doug, was just like the whole time. It was just going like this. You just see in the video, you're just going like.
Dude, fuck, dude. Bob and Doug, they're the shit, dude. My new heroes.
Yeah, they're my favorite heroes, right? They're my favorite astronauts right now.
Oh man, let's make some T-shirts with Bob and Doug on them.
Dude.
Bob and Doug are my homeboys.
Bob and Doug. Oh my
I
God.
want to be on Bob and Doug's cruise, man.
Bob and Doug's cruise. Bob and Doug's cruise.
Wow,
If you just type Bob and Doug into Google, it comes up.
I'm sure.
Oh, there's a TV series called Bob and Doug.
About them?
in Canada
Oh,
in 2009, April 19th. Bob and Doug is a Canadian animated sitcom. Produced. What's it
whoa.
about? Synopsis. The series is set in a fictional town of Maple Lake, a town located just across the Canadian-U.S. border. The fictional character metropolis of JFK City, a hotbed of crime and porn. The show centers on Bob and Doug, brothers of stereotypical Hoosiers who work as garbage collectors. Okay. Well, guess what? Bob and Doug go to space.
Bob and Doug.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
Dude, so
Bob. Was it the Oregon Country Fair? I know you weren't there for that, but it was
you
like
told me about that.
yeah. God spelled backwards is dog, but Bob spelled backwards is still Bob.
Yeah.
Praise Bob.
That's always in my head, dude. I wrote that into the movie. I was just doing.
Really?
He was trying to figure out a name for it. So he this dog comes up, a stray dog basically at the beginning of the movie. There's no one else around, and they befriend each other, and he doesn't know what to call it. And some guy's like, how'd you get that dog? And he's kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of an act of God. And then he's like, God. It's like God spelled backwards is dog. And he names his dog God. So it's kind of like a little joke the whole time. So that's in there. He's like, did you know that God spelled backwards is dog? And the guy's like, oh, yeah, it is.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Bob and Doug was Rick Moranis and fucking what's his name?
That's all you got to tell me. I'm on board.
That's like, it's actually a famous thing. There's a cartoon, but there were the characters. Yeah, Rick Moranis. Yeah. Yeah, look at this. Let me pull up this picture and screen share it with you. An alternate Bob and Doug. Ready? Bob and Doug.
I love that other guy. What's he from?
I don't know.
He's in like the 80s, 90s movies.
Yeah.
Bob and Doug. Those guys are in space right now.
They're in fucking space. Donald Trump's the president. Doug and Bob went to space.
And I'm reading this while preparing for her role in the Bundy movie.
Yeah.
She recounts how she would wake up every night at 3:05 a.m. She, quote, says, I would go downstairs and have a cup of tea trying to figure out why I had woken up again. Then she says she started being woken up by flashes of images, like the aftermath of a struggle. And I discovered at 3 a.m. the time is when the veil between the realms is thinnest and one can be visited. So she said she didn't feel scared, and she felt like the victims of Bundy were like contacting her, but not like in a scary way, and kind of saying, we're here and we support you or something like that. So she's open to the realms, man.
She's open to the realms. Oh my God. What the fuck? This is amazing.
Oh my. Hold on.
What the fuck? I just pulled up this thing. It says Lily Collins talks fear, death, and owning her experience. What the fuck, dude? This is if I ever saw a sign, this is a sign.
Dude,
what the fuck? Oh, and she was in Les Miserables too.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman.
With Hugh, yeah.
Does she have an English accent?
No, I don't think so.
Lily Collins talks fear, death, and owning her experience. That's this is the longest mandala moment so far today.
Seriously, I'm trying to figure out.
The fuck?
So the song, I'm trying to figure out the song "You'll Be in My Heart." You'll be in my heart. You know that Phil Collins one?
Yeah.
That was a lullaby for Lily.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, she looks the part.
Oh man. Yeah, that's pretty fucking wild.
That's like really wild. Wow.
Understatement.
That makes the pitch that much better for her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, your dad started this whole thing in 1981.
Uh-huh.
Like, to start, like,
Yeah. Wow. We should. We obviously should, but we need to work on that pitch. We should do that pitch one of these podcasts.
yes, that's a great idea.
Like we're telling it to an executive or her first.
Yep.
And then an executive like work on that pitch. Yeah, but I just imagining telling that whole story.
Yeah.
Starting at the Genesis concert 8 years before she was born. And then all the things that have happened and
Yeah.
the cycles. And
What we should do is we tell the we recount the entire story, no limits. We take notes and then we break it down and like literally create the hero's journey out of it. We find the plot points. We just develop the main idea, the thesis, and we work it through and have the punchline at the end.
That's the way. The pitch is a story, right? And you got to hook them at the end.
Yep.
And then your name. What?
and then we realized
it's you.
Your name is Lily.
Lily Collins.
Lily Collins, daughter of Phil Collins. Holy shit.
Lily Collins.
Oh my God. Wow.
We'll just walk in there, be ready for the pitch, and she'll be like, before you say anything, let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm on your cruise, bro.
I'm on board. Whatever it is you guys are about to say, I'm on board. Okay.
I talked to Bob and Doug already.
I get Bob and Doug are in on this. I got a direct line to Bob and Doug.
Bob and Doug already know. They heard the whole thing. They said it's great. I'm in.
Dude, it's so funny when you said that initially. I thought you were joking. I thought you were like, haha, her name is Lily Collins. I'm like, haha, yeah, right, Lily Collins. It's like, wait, what?
What? That's real.
That's a real. That's
real
serious.
life. Is this real life? I guess.
Guess so. No frame of reference.
No, there isn't. Our buddies are in space. Our other buddies are getting murdered. Our other buddies are burning down police stations.
Yeah.
Our other buddies are dying of the swine flu or something. I don't even know.
Yeah. You know what's kind of interesting too, like with Elon Musk and Grimes are together. They have a baby, and she's
ridiculous,
amazing, right?
Also, real quick, she's another avenue because we love her music so much. She should be involved in the project. Let's call Elon. Give us the money for the movie right now. Let's do it. What if
Elon would imagine? Fucking Elon is like, you know what? I'll just create my own production company.
Dude, he can make Mandala 100 times over, easy.
He would be the guy.
Yeah. All right, so just throwing that out there. All right.
All
anyway.
right. Elon Musk and Grimes were got. Oh my God. So this is fucking insane. So Grimes just released this art thing. Like her new art project is. Here, I'll just read this to you.
Yeah.
The deeper we got with it, the more philosophically interesting it became. This is an article that was written interviewing Grimes.
Okay.
Grimes told Bloomberg, also, I really wanted to collaborate with my lawyer on the art. The idea of fantastical art in the form of legal documents just seems very intriguing to me. In a copy of the contract posted online, the document defines Grimes' soul as follows. So what she basically is doing is she's saying, I'm selling my soul, piece of my soul, to the highest bidder. So what she then writes, she goes, the soul of Grimes, Article 1, consists of the spiritual, immaterial, and immortal essence of Grimes, which exists independently of and distinctly different from her physical being, but is the essence of life itself. Article 2 is mutable in time, but immutable in space, containing eternal truth and wisdom. Article 3 is imbued with the knowledge of good with honor, and Article 4 contains perceptive, rational, and contemplative powers that enable it to be close to the source of all things in the universe. So like she literally created a legal document of like what her soul is.
Yeah.
And being like, she's not really selling it. I mean, it's art. Like she's selling art. But this idea of like thinking even in terms of mandala, like a soul contract, like a soul contract. I mean, it's like you're selling your soul to the you know, that whole business thing.
That's something that Lilith could come up with, maybe, you know, to kind of trick her into thinking that this is it's okay to do this.
Yeah.
But it kind of goes against her ethics, but maybe she could be like, you know what, I could turn it into art. I like that a lot.
Yeah. And that's like, and I think that's like the whole point of what she was doing.
That's really cool, by the way. Is that recent?
Yeah. Like today or yesterday or whatever.
We haven't really thought about a lawyer character, because Lilith would definitely have a lawyer.
Oh, right. Like, why doesn't she have a fucking, like, yeah.
Have a lawyer. So we haven't even thought about that.
Yeah, we haven't thought about a lawyer.
Because she would
a lawyer is like one of those things in the hero's journey that, like, that could be in the beginning. That's like, are you sure you want to do this?
Maybe she could fire him.
Yeah.
Or at some point, maybe she's in between lawyers, but I think that should be involved. Because being as big as a rock star as she is, she wouldn't just meet Vincelli and then sign a contract willy-nilly like that.
How about this? Like, what if in the very beginning, like
Grimes can be her lawyer.
Grimes should be her lawyer. Grimes, yeah. Oh my God, that'd be hilarious. And she fires her.
She fires her, yeah.
Yeah, like if that was a thing where like right before she meets Vincelli, she like fires her lawyer. She gets into it. The lawyer is the one that's like, you shouldn't do this. You should get back. Says the same thing that Vincelli says, but he does it like in a bullshit lawyer way. Doesn't meet her where she is. And lawyer's trying to convince her, like, this is a bad move. You should be doing this. You should stay in the business. Keep doing. I got you all these contracts. And it's like, fuck you. I don't want to do that. You're fired.
Yeah.
And then like shortly after that, Vincelli shows up and
maybe that night, like that's when the beginning of the night before we see her, the thing that happens right before we see her, maybe she fires her lawyer.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe that's what kind of stresses her out and puts her on the roof.
Yeah. And then it's like with Vincelli there, it's kind of like this thing where she knows she needs somebody there to be her advocate.
Yeah.
And Vincelli, Matt Damon, is like way better than, you know, her lawyer before that.
Right. It's kind of like in the Social Network when the CFO who gets kind of screwed, you know, I forget the actor's name, but he played Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I really like the actor. But they made him like sign new stuff when Facebook was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And he ended up signing this stuff without reading it and then getting his shares diluted down to basically nothing.
Yeah.
And then he was at the end, when they're kind of recounting everything, he's like, I look at it. Honestly, I thought these guys were my lawyers. So maybe she could be like feeling like Vincelli is her lawyer at that. You know, he could be her. Maybe she's like, if you need new representation, you know, like I hear you. Maybe he knows through the grapevine. Like I heard you just got rid of your lawyer or something like that, and he kind of could paint himself maybe in that light to make her.
Yeah.
To tell her on it more. Like I could not only could I bring you into this thing, but I could be your new representation.
Yeah. And maybe she can even just offer it up like in that casual conversation, you know, where it's like casual Matt Damon at the bar. Like, I'm not drinking. I'm an alcoholic, you know, the whole thing. And they're talking and she's just like, I just fired my lawyer yesterday. And he's like, oh, that sucks. Oh man, like you really deserve somebody that's going to, you know, be there for you.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's like the whole NLP thing, like that we always initially had, like it without doing that crazy hand movements.
Yeah.
And then look at this and look at this, and like if that was his whole intention in the first place. is to get her to represent, but make it seem like it was her idea.
Yeah. There you go. Perfect. So then he really has more control over her, as your lawyer, not necessarily saying that, but you could use that on her. Like, come on, I'm your lawyer. I represent you.
My lawyer, like, I could see Lily being like, my lawyer just tried to trick me all the time, tried to manipulate me. And he's like, don't worry, I won't do anything like this. I won't do any manipulation. And I'm not going to. And I'm like, gets her to laugh. Like, and we'd have to literally be in there and like makes her laugh.
I like that.
Gets her to trust him.
Oh God.
Don't worry, I'm not going to manipulate you. It's like he is manipulating you.
He's good.
He's good. He's the best.
He's the best.
That's why he's been selling. Wow.
Holy shit. So then, maybe they can work up a contract, and maybe she could throw something in there like that to be more artistic. My other lawyer would never let me do anything like this. Well, I'm not like him. You can put whatever you want in the contract. You want to put your soul in there. That's cool. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's a new, unique idea. But seriously, Elon Musk needs to produce a movie.
Oh God, yeah, dude.
He's worth like $30 billion.
I'm writing that down. I gotta get that.
What's 500 million, dude? Come on.
Dude,
come on, Elon. You're trying to change the world.
The guy who was like, I'm bored. I'm gonna invent
your bonds. Are you finding Elon's number? What's going on?
Where is it?
Do you have his email?
Yeah, I got his Gmail right here.
It's Elon at spacex.tesla.yahoo.
Yeah. I'm writing produced by Elon Musk.
Produced? Yeah, make it happen, dude. What are those called? Like vision boards?
Yeah, like a vision board.
Let's do that. Oh yeah, I can finally start erasing these because these are all for my other script. So I can. Dude, do you remember this?
Oh yeah.
I forgot I had it, and it said
What?
it said balance and love was the only thing.
What was that? That was from
the idea board, dude. That's from the house.
That's from the house. Oh my God, yeah.
I'm at in the garage or some shit.
Holy shit.
And it said balance and love, and it had been on there for 11 years. You can still kind of see it down here.
It's like paper. It's not like dry erase.
No, this is dry erase, but it was on there for so long that it won't fully erase.
Oh, gotcha.
But it is dry erase. But I can delete or I can erase all of these, and then I can make one of them the vision board and just start throwing Lily Collins and Grimes and Elon Musk.
Produced by Elon Musk, dude.
Why not, dude? Has he done that before? That's the next thing for him.
Dude, what if this is
Bob
like
and Doug? They know Elon.
They know him. We're gonna meet Bob and Doug. We're going to space.
Fuck Elon. I want to meet Bob and Doug. Damn.
We're gonna witness space. And dude, what if it's like 2001 Space Odyssey? It is like 2001 Space Odyssey. But what if it's like really like it in terms of the production where Stanley Kubrick worked with Arthur C. Clarke to develop like innovative shit that then ended up getting him to go to the moon, right?
Right.
We work with Elon Musk and the dome turns out to be some sort of shit. Like 3 years after Mandala's over, there's like some crazy fucking thing that like was inspired by Mandala.
Dude, same thing. Yeah, because Arthur C. Clarke worked for NASA, right? And he he worked for NASA. And basically, Elon Musk invented a new NASA. And we're basically Stanley Kubrick.
Another Mandala moment. This Mandala moment's going. We're milking it good now.
Grimes, Phil Collins, Lily Collins, Anthony Green.
Yeah.
Oh.
Dude.
I shouldn't have had that Pepsi before this, man.
I know. I feel like I'm on Pepsi right now.
Shit, dude. It was a 20 ouncer. It wasn't even a can.
Oh my God. Dude, so like we've got I mean, like, thank you, Brie Larson, for getting us to this point, but I'm much more solid about Lily Collins at this point.
Just like that.
Just like that. That's all it takes. Lily, when you know, you know.
Yep.
Lily Collins, lead actress.
Yeah.
And Elon Musk, the producer.
Yep.
We've been talking about, I mean, we need an agent, but at the same time, I think having Elon Musk as the producer is like a big, important step.
And you know who knows Elon Musk? Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan.
You know who knows Joe Rogan?
Uncle Bruce.
Uncle Bruce.
Fuck, dude, we're so close.
3 degrees, 2 degrees, dude.
We're so close.
You met Joe Rogan. You were there.
We were there.
You were, well, not in the same studio, but a different studio, but you were in the same.
In the
Same.
beginning.
Yeah.
Humble beginnings.
Uncle Bruce. He knew all this would happen, didn't he?
This is like my
Son of a gun.
it's like I, this is really intense.
Dude, we just needed Bob and Doug up there. I'm telling you. Once they left the atmosphere, everything was open.
That's it. That's all it took.
The Crusade.
Satellites, man. There's that scene in Mandala where they launched the fucking thing. We
Mhm.
witnessed it happen today.
Did. That was it. That was the scene.
That was the scene. We witnessed it today, live. Bob and Doug go to space. What the fuck?
What?
You know what would be great too is like these podcasts being on record, and then like when we make the movie, going back, like people going back and like re-listening to, and even just us going back and re-listening to this to see the step-by-step synchronicities that
Oh,
lead.
like right now, you mean?
Yeah, like right now, like right now.
If somebody's watching this right now,
That's right.
and then, hi.
Yeah.
Thanks
So,
for coming.
hi, hey,
Thanks for coming back, guys.
thanks for coming back. Never really
Good
left.
to
We've always been here.
It's just been on a cruise the whole time.
The whole time we've been on Penelope's cruise. Tom's cruise. Thought we should have been on Penelope's cruise. And
Well, we
that's
started on Tom's cruise, and then that was going to crash into an iceberg, so we hopped off to Penelope's cruise because it was going the other way towards tropical.
Yeah.
No, you got to go this way.
who wants to go on a cruise through the North Atlantic?
Yeah, no thanks.
It's cold.
Here we are.
Elon Musk, dude.
Elon Musk.
He's gonna produce Mandala. That's it.
Why not?
That makes too much sense.
Too much fucking sense, dude. Thanks, Elon. Appreciate
Uncle
it.
Bruce loves Teslas, dude. He can't stop talking about it.
Perfect. Him and Elon would have a great conversation. That'd be a great podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Fucking amazing. Whew.
Wow. Mandala moment.
Mandala moment.
Holy shit.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Wow. You know, we didn't really have a solid. I think all he's always said about this podcast, like, we're going to have a lot to talk about. It wasn't like let's talk about this.
Mm-mm.
I'm glad, because this is huge.
It's organic. Yeah, my sister can't drive right now, so she was like, do you mind if we just go for a drive today? And I was like, sure, fuck it. And we drove around for, a couple hours probably, and I told her, she's like, what are you doing tonight? I was telling her I was doing this, and she's like, so what do you guys talk about? And I was basically describing it, not describing it at the same time. It's like, well, we do it for us, but we do it for everybody. We broadcast it live, but nobody watches it, but they will. But it's a private conversation, but it's a public conversation. And we all, like today we had a lot to talk about, but sometimes we are just like, hey, let's catch up. But there's everything going on in the world right now. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, we were on a pathway that we didn't know we were on. And now here we are, and it's still happening. It's like a long, long moment of deja vu.
Yeah.
Having some grimy, musky, lily moments.
Grimy, musky moments. Oh my God. What the fuck? Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, and Grimes could be like the, on the music supervisor.
Oh, dude,
level
Liquid
as well.
Crystal. I could see Grimes
Yeah.
like, killing.
Oh,
it.
that's such the vibe that we would want, right in that realm.
This most recent album, especially.
Yeah. And FKA Twigs, some because
Yeah.
she's like a dance choreographer more than anything, and we know how important the dances and the movements and.
Wait,
Mary Magdalene.
this picture, dude. This is very Lilith of her. I guess it's her name.
Whew. Yeah.
That's very like Mandala.
Wow, that's her. If I've ever seen a picture of Lilith, that's her.
That's fucking her right there, dude.
With the teardrop too.
Yep. And the ISIS rays coming off.
Yeah. And the collar too. She's probably wearing a dress, like a fancy.
Yep. His eyebrows. Oh my god.
Wow. There she is.
That's her.
That's the first time we've seen her.
I think
That's
this
the first image we've seen of Lilith. Wow.
here. Let's see.
Holy cow. Wow. Now I'm thinking of
Oh my god, dude. This is crazy.
it's madness.
That's it. That's her. Holy shit. Happened by accident. Absolutely not by accident.
Absolutely not by accident.
Only appeared that way for a split second.
Oh
Holy shit, dude. Wow, wow, wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Was stuck
And this!
pictures
she's stuck in pictures.
while he passed time in film.
See her and Kit Harington having a thing for sure.
Oh, silly fate, why do you play? Frame by frame, day by day.
Wow.
Whoa! I've gotten chilled so many times throughout this call, like as this has been all going on. Like, woo!
Yeah, seriously. It's been a surreal moment.
So real.
Ah,
Lily Collins.
Lily Collins.
Oh shit. I can't wait to like tell that to Uncle Bruce somehow. Be like,
Yeah, yeah.
you realize that Phil, like, I don't even, it's one of those things like trying to explain a trip to somebody
Yeah.
doesn't always come out right. So that's why the next time we need to come up with a pitch.
Yes, exactly.
Like that should be in our immediate like project line here, because
Agreed.
that's a necessary thing.
It is, and it's something we'll need to know, and it'll help us with the understanding and of everything, anyways.
Yeah, really. The
Um,
story of how it came to be, the story of what it is, how it's evolved, and then even like the nature of what's going on now, how relevant it is now, especially. Can't go wrong.
no,
Elon Musk, dude. Oh man,
Elon Musk,
big like
producer.
revelations. Yeah, you're right, dude. It was Bob and Doug.
It was totally Bob and Doug.
Bob and Doug. Like that. Watching the rocket launch in my mind, that's exactly what I imagined. Right after Jeff dies and that shit happens.
Satellites all along were Bob and Doug. They were hiding in the satellites.
Yep.
They were making it seem like,
That's not.
oh yeah, we're launching satellites, but we snuck them up there.
Yeah, we
We were just smuggling Bob and Doug.
smuggling Bob and Doug. Oh god, dude.
That's the second part of the series, smuggling Bob and Doug.
Yeah, we got smuggled them. Dude, like Elon Musk launched a fucking car into space.
Yeah,
That's the guy that's gonna produce our movie, dude.
metaphor for launching Mandala into the outer atmosphere of consciousness. He's got rockets. That man's got rockets.
Light jets.
That man's got music, got money, he's got rockets, he's got babies, he's got Bob and Doug.
He's got Bob and Doug. Got
Elon.
flamethrowers.
Elon's cruise
Elon's cruise.
doesn't have the same ring to it, but it's probably a cooler cruise.
Yeah.
And then,
Oh my god. Synchronicities are like.
yes, up and out the wazoo.
Yeah. It's truly a mandala moment when you think about one thing and simultaneously you're thinking about various other things that somehow in your consciousness are geometrically symmetrical with each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you have to do is to think of that one thing, and then all the other things immediately just.
Yep, that's exactly what happened. That's the mandala moment.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it is. Huh.
My oh my.
Yeah. Wow, success, dude.
Yes, if you can call it that. That's not even like a relative term. It's
Yeah.
beyond
Beyond
success.
success. That's yeah.
Beyond.
It's a living mandala.
Yeah, we're just catching up with it. I
Yeah.
think we're close to catching up with it now.
Yeah.
It was evading us, or we were not equipped, didn't have the right Bob and Doug's in the right
Yeah,
places.
Bobs and Dugs in there. No, yeah, you gotta get your Bobs and Dugs in order. Get your ducks in order.
Sure, Bob and Doug's in order, man.
Oh my God.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. I mean, not even cool. Not
Right.
cool.
Not cool. Not cool. Not
This is
cool.
not cool at all. This is not cool, dude.
Not cool, dude. Riots, and there's viruses.
Riots and viruses. Riots, viruses, and rockets.
Oh my.
Oh my.
I can't stop looking at this picture of her. She's perfect.
Yeah.
I know it. I know it.
To make it happen. Yeah, it's happening. We just initiated something. We just set something, and we just hit a big domino there.
Yeah, big fucking
Big
Rob
domino.
Domino.
Rob Domino, man. Arlington Road. Bombs exploding everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. That was crazy. Yeah, watching that movie. That was very similar. Like, I mean, especially towards the end with
I
how
forgot about the investigation part of it too. You're
Yeah.
right. Totally right. Yeah.
he's because
Take
in this
that
whole
shit
thing,
out.
yeah, he's trying to he suspects something, but then Tim Robbins comes over to his house and he's like, "What the fuck, man? Like, why don't you just ask me?" And then he starts thinking, "Oh, maybe I was going a little crazy."
Uh-huh.
And she has those moments too. Jeff has that moment,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
fucking shows, and then it's back,
hmm
and then Tim Robbins comes in, fucking kills him, shanks him in the shaw.
Steals his kid.
Yeah,
That's fucked
and
up.
it's open-ended ending as well. It's an open-ended tragic
Yeah.
oh fuck moment at the end. Like they're still out there. They framed him.
Don't they like sell their house too, and they like shows that they're moving on to another place?
They're like, we should
continue,
get out of here. It's just not right here.
and then they take his son, right? Don't they, or do they adopt his son or some shit?
That was a little ambiguous to me. I wasn't sure if like because he gets driven in a car away, so like family members might have taken him.
Uh-huh.
And funny, Tim Robbins' wife in that movie was Lily Tomlin. No, it wasn't. Okay, now Mandala moment's over. Okay, that was not a connection.
It
Lily
was
Tomlin. Joan Cusack.
Cusack, yeah.
Yeah, that's then that whole thing too, man. It's just like
Nepotism.
he thought like the whole time, like he drives in to the building.
Yeah.
It's that car. They're in there. And then he realizes, oh shit, it's my car.
You're the only one unauthorized or something like that.
Everyone's authorized to be here except you.
Yeah.
And then he realizes, oh fuck, it's me. And
Yeah.
then dead.
You got. That's totally
Exactly what happens to Lily. Dude.
Yeah. That's true.
And it was Jeff Bridges.
Yeah. Jeff's dad. Jeff's dad, Jeff. It's in their blood. But Lilith has to end the cycle. And that's what she does.
Yeah.
Jeff Domino gets killed for looking into shit. Jeff gets killed for looking into shit. Then Lily looks into shit, and then she looks into herself.
Yeah.
She's like, no, man, I'm gonna stop looking out. I'm gonna look in.
Yeah. And that's the thing with the beauty of movies is that you could really live vicariously through these characters in a way that you don't get from just like looking at the face value of things. We're telling us the inner story of her that only that's the agreement that the audience has when they're watching. It's like, oh, like those things where you're watching a movie and you know that there's something there, but they don't see it, and you're like, behind you, he's behind you. It's like you have that connection, that rapport with the main character, and that's what the movie's really about, is your rapport with Lilith and what she's going through and how she experiences it. Because when you look at it on the surface value, it's like, oh fuck, that's like an awful, terrible thing.
Yeah. It's absolutely horrible. Was that Elon? Did he get back to you?
Elon's coming.
Cool.
All right, hold on. Let me just.
Can you just tell him to hold on a minute? We're almost done.
Yes.
Hold your fucking horses, Elon.
Hold on 1 second.
Oh, cool, man. That's just it's a lot to think about right now. It's exciting. Maybe we could still have Bree in there somewhere. You know, she helped us get there. It's like we should almost pay an homage to every actor that we've ever
Yeah.
thought of.
Yeah.
You know, like the guy from Entourage, James Franco, everybody that we've ever thought of in the movie
Yeah.
should be in the movie in some capacity. You know,
I can see James Franco being like, I just got my vaccine.
him and Dave could be in there. Him and Dave Franco. This is me and my bro. We've been trying to get into this show, man. Yeah.
Oh my God. Let us in. You don't want to go in there.
Oh, man, I do. I know. Trust me, I know.
Trust me, I know, man. I feel like I've experienced this all before in a past life. Like he goes in, like the door is shutting, and he like goes to put his arm in the door, and the door shuts on his arm, and it gets stuck, and he has to fucking cut his arm off to get away from the dome.
All we see is like the mandala, like on his arm. Oh
man, that's funny. Wow.
Well, yeah, that's a lot to think about. But yeah, definitely. So today's Saturday, so whenever you have time, early to mid next week, we should definitely do the pitch.
The pitch.
And if we can, I feel like we should both read Mandala between now and then, just to be
Very
fresh
good
with it.
Yes.
And then have the pitch, and then you still have all the other notes and stuff from the screenplay contest that I think I forwarded you.
Oh, dude. Mandala alert.
Mandala's calling.
Emergency services, public safety alert. The city of Los Angeles is declaring that a curfew will be in place from 8 p.m. tonight to 5:30 in the morning tomorrow for the entire city of Los Angeles. Traveling to and from work, seeking or giving emergency care, and emergency responders are exempt. Additional information is available at lacity.org.
Wow. Right now that happened.
Right now. Stay inside. Curfew.
Curfew.
Dude, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's happening.
It's happening right now. Today is a big day.
Yeah.
I feel it, man. There's some planetary shit going on or whatever. I don't know.
I don't think things are anywhere near as crazy here for any curfew to happen. I don't think anything violence has happened.
I mean, I imagine the brunt of it's going to be downtown LA.
Yeah, LA just they live for that.
Yeah, riot central over here.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait to
Safe
get
in
back out
LA.
there. Can't wait to get back out there, man.
Yeah, dude, I can't wait either.
Enjoying that riot.
That was funny, like thinking the other day. This is great. It's great. I mean, it's crazy, but it's great. I'm grateful.
I'm grateful too. We're very fortunate to be in the bubble inside the chaos. Somebody's got to do it.
Somebody's got to do it.
We know our job.
Before you make mandala, you must live it first.
Exactly. How else can you know?
That's heavy.
Yeah, the gravitational pull hopefully will be evened out by the homeboys, by Bob and Doug. They'll balance it out now. Things got a little bit less heavy when Bob and Doug went up there.
They did. Wow. It's so cool to have favorite astronauts.
Yeah. Like current astronauts. Everyone, Buzz Aldrin, Neil Armstrong, gives a shit about those guys. I want to know about Bob and Doug.
Bob and Doug.
What a real-
Oh my God. Oh my Bob.
Oh my Bob. Oh dear Doug.
Oh dear Doug. Oh bye Bob.
Oh.
Lily Collins. Holy shit. Just these names, just even saying Lily Collins. It's just like, holy fuck.
That's a thing that already exists. Make that up.
That's existed for way longer than we thought it did.
Yeah.
We just had to catch up.
Oh, yeah, exactly. We're catching up right now.
Fucking article. Where is it?
Jesus.
Lily Collins talks fear, death, and owning her experience. Okay.
So we've had like 4 to 5 or 45 people watching every one of our podcasts. Little did we know, Lily Collins has been watching all of these.
Yeah, watching all.
She doesn't miss an episode.
Oh my God.
We
That's
appreciate your dedication,
so,
Lily.
yeah. Yeah.
Ms.
Really makes a
Collins.
difference. Really makes a difference in the world.
Thanks for being there.
Woo.
All right, man. Holy cow.
Holy cow. Well, this has been a very good mandala moment
It's been a very good mandala moment.
to try to put words to it, which is just not appropriate.
No. The only way to describe that would be a mandala moment.
Yeah.
So,
So there.
so there, yeah, take that. So, Grimes, Elon, Lily Collins, Bob and Doug. I know you guys are all listening. Let's talk soon. Let's get this ball rolling. Bob and Doug have already done a lot of the legwork. You know, let's carry. This is a group project, okay? Let's not slack. Let's not let them do all the work. You know.
Nope. We're in this together.
Yeah, we're all in this
We got-
together.
We
We're
got
all in this together.
It's not alone together. We're always together. And there's the Space Force or the space team and the ground team. We got teams all over the place, and
Yep.
we need to all be working in collaboration,
Yeah.
like you were saying before. The true sense of collaboration with NASA and SpaceX, just that's competition in the best possible way, where everybody wins.
Exactly. That's what we're doing. That's what the production of Mandala will be. Everybody wins. All right, man.
All right, man. Good
That's
times.
it. That's it.
Yeah. Let's we'll reconvene, and I'm gonna put all 3 of these podcasts up at the same time.
Awesome. It's what the
and,
world.
And we will we'll work on the pitch.
All right, cool. Yeah, read Mandala when you get time next couple of days, and then we'll figure it out when we both read it, and we'll have another Mandala moment and pitch it to
Bob and Doug.
Bob and Doug.
They should be the first ones to hear it. They will be.
They will.
Excellent. Love you, man.
All right, man. I love you too. Good stuff. Good
All
good
right.
brain work and good talks, and yeah. Stay safe out there for sure. Obey your curfew.
I will. I'm just gonna take the dogs out to pee, and then that's it.
All right. I'm gonna go take myself out to pee and have some pizza.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
Cool. All right, man. Love you. Great
Love you
fucking
too, man. Good times. Shit. All
Peace up.
right.
Bob and
Peace
Doug.
up. Peace up, brother. Oh, peace up.
Bob and Doug.
Doug. Later.